number one sports talk station, 97.3. The Fan, Crisello, Matt, Skraby. There we are, or there I am. Skraby, dressed as a microphone. Oh, there he is. And we have come here on the YouTube channel. For the very few of you out there that might be left that still don't know, you can actually watch the show now on YouTube. You just go there, you dial in Gwynn and Chris or 97.3 The Fan. And
97.3 The Fan is the search term.
Oh, okay. Gwynn and Chris won't get you to our show? I think it will.
A roundabout way?
Oh, no, more roundabout way?
Yeah, because if you type in 97.3 The Fan, it will bring you to our account.
It'll go right there.
Yeah.
All right. So you can watch the show every day, thanks to our friends at YouTube there. And, of course, you can listen as you're driving around or, if that's just the way you'd like to do it, right here on 97.3 The Fan. We're here till 5 o'clock today. And then things get interesting. It'll be the Padres roundtable, commercial-free hour of nothing but Padre talk with Ben Higgins, Stephen Woods, Braden Surprenant, Paul Reindl, and batting cleanup, Chris Ello, Matt Skraby in absentia today from the roundtable.
I missed it. I really did.
You did.
I've been having fun this year.
But I'm going to clue you into a couple of things we talked about today because I thought they were really interesting. And, so this will be, you hear a lot of this talk if you listen to the roundtable later, but it's stuff that I can't wait for you to hear. So I want to get into that here at the beginning of the show. Couple of items came up during the roundtable that got me thinking, Skraby. And I think it's fair that we, as Padre fans, take a moment to think about it. So I will let you in on that here shortly. NBA Finals last night, Game 3. The greatest team in NBA history is now down 2-1 in the series. I would love to see where all of the geniuses who told us that Oklahoma City just cannot be beaten. Greatest defensive team anybody's ever seen, except for they gave up a 40-point second quarter last night and got basically shredded in the fourth quarter as Indiana came back to win the game. Oklahoma City still may be the champs when it's all said and done. There's a long way to go in the series, but there is nothing they can do, in my mind, for me to put this Oklahoma City team on a par with the Warriors and the Bulls and the Lakers and the Celtics and teams that truly are great teams. I don't see that. We'll talk more about NBA Finals Game 3. Take a look ahead to tonight's Stanley Cup Game 4. And also, the U.S. Open Golf Championship is underway, and a San Diego State athlete is atop the leaderboard, but it is not the one you would think, right?
Not Xander Schauffele.
Right. If I told you, right, if somebody said, hey, there's an Aztec leading the U.S. Open, you'd say, oh, good day for Xander. No. Well, actually, I take it back now. He's not leading. J.J. Spawn is the guy I'm talking about. He's in the clubhouse with the lead at 4 under par, but he has been passed now by the Korean Sunjae Im.
Ooh, he's playing good golf lately.
He has been. He's at 5 under. So Im is through 11 holes. He's got the lead right now. Spawn, leader in the clubhouse, fired a brilliant 66 today on a course that is basically next to impossible at the Oakmont Country Club in Oakmont, Pennsylvania. So we'll keep you up to date on the U.S. Open Golf. There's a couple of funny names up on the leaderboard. Here's one. Brooks Koepka is there, a couple of shots off the lead. And the fun part about the U.S. Open to me today, Skraby, a bunch of really good golfers did really, really bad. And you can find them down at the bottom of the leaderboard. So we'll get into the U.S. Open as well. And then one more thing this hour. Coming up at 2:30, don't miss this. Coming up at 2:30, bottom of the hour today, I'm going to tell you the only two things that matter for this San Diego Padre baseball team moving forward. There's only two things that truly matter And I will tell you what they are at the bottom of the hour. All right. And also one last thing. Sorry. SDFC, you soccer fans.
Yes.
Today is our soccer day. Kendra de Saint Alban.
I will. Yeah, I have the.
Yes,
I have the phonetic
double check that one.
I do.
It's a tough one.
I asked for it.
Kendra de Saint Alban, analyst. Well, that's what I'm going with. You tell me differently later. She's an analyst for MLS Season Pass. She'll be on in the 3:00 hour to talk soccer. We also, at some point during the show, will give you a chance to win a couple of tickets to see Padre baseball on June 22nd against the Royals. How are you before I get to a couple of the items that are kind of left over in my mind from the roundtable today?
I am doing great.
You're better? You're okay?
Oh, yeah, everything is fine.
Okay.
I just can't, leave the dogs for 11 hours.
Yes, that's why you were not on the roundtable today. You had dog duty.
My sister...
I hope Lucky and company appreciated you giving up, some of your time to be with them this morning.
Oh, I would have much rather been at the roundtable. They were driving me insane this morning. They do this thing where they all...
The dogs being a little crazy for you.
Yeah, Lucky does this thing where he comes up to me and just sits next to me, and then he... and just whines until I look at him, and then he'll stop. And then
had he just watched the Padre Dodger series?
Yes, he did.
Perhaps that's why he was whining.
He also saw Twitter, and he was like, "Dad, why is everybody being so mean to you on Twitter?"
I had a big discussion with my wife Lori about this last night, and I told her that I told you have got to start giving your opinions, having conviction in your opinions, backing up your opinions, which I think you do. And then after that, let the chips fall where they may.
Oh,
you need to start doing that because you are kind of, you're early in your sports talk radio career.
Yes.
Comparatively speaking.
Yes.
And you just got to get past worrying about what every one of these.
It's not so much about
every one of these listeners think and write in the chat. They don't agree with you. I think it gets to you sometimes.
Maybe
and
a little bit.
Okay, maybe. But here's the thing. You, nor I, nor Tony, nor anybody else on this station or anywhere else for that matter, we are not here to only please the listeners.
Yeah.
We sometimes are here to please them and say things that they want to hear.
Yeah.
And make them smile and make them laugh. But other times we are here to point out things that might be a little either A, uncomfortable, or B, things that they don't agree with.
I agree.
That's what we're here to do.
I agree.
So when they don't agree with you, deal with it.
No, I definitely put my opinion out there and I stand by it and I still stand by it. I don't have any problems with putting opinions out there. It's like when people come back at me and then they make all these stupid comments, like they just looked up stats and just threw them out there. Okay. And they're like, this guy clearly is no ball. And I've gotten over the you don't know ball guy.
Yeah, but if you know ball, then you don't care what they say. So stop worrying about it.
Well, we're talking specifically about my anger at Randy Vasquez being removed from the game yesterday when he was. And I'm curious to hear what the roundtable said about it.
All right, well, we're going to get into that right now.
Okay, let's go.
We're going to get into that right now because that was a roundtable discussion today. Although I will tell you right off the top, the discussion did not have a lot to do with whether or not Mike Schilt should have taken Vasquez out.
Okay.
Almost everybody agrees that the Padres had a plan going into the game.
It's
for
clear.
Better or for worse, they had a plan. And their plan yesterday, which I am sure was determined well before Randy Vasquez even got to the ballpark.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
The plan was that he would face the Dodgers the first time through the lineup, and then he would come out of the game. So, since they made that plan, I don't think anybody can be really critical of it. That's what they chose to do yesterday. They were hoping that Vasquez would keep them in the game for 4 or 5 innings. He did his job. And then they said, we're going to go to a battle of bullpens, and we think ours is better than yours. And it wasn't. So they lost the ball game. They did not lose the ball game because they had a bad plan. They lost the game because the plan they had didn't work. So I'm not here to discuss whether they should have taken him out, should have kept him in. But I think we can take this a step further. And in this regard, Skraby, I think you might feel a little bit more, just a little bit more, a little better about your thoughts.
Okay.
To me, the bigger picture here is, do the Padres only consider Randy Vasquez a 2 times through the order pitcher forevermore?
Okay.
Have they already decided that he can't get anybody out the 3rd time through? And from now on, is he just coming out of every game in the 4th or 5th inning? Or was this just because it was the Dodgers? And I think that's what we got to find out moving forward. His statistics say he's much worse the 3rd time through the order.
Much worse. Are
the Padres going to stick with that moving forward? We're not going to know the answer for a while because his next start is against the Dodgers next week in L.A. And I'm assuming that they'll take him out after 2 times through the order next week as well. Look, if they took him out yesterday, they're going to take him out the next time because yesterday was about as well as he has pitched, and they still took him out. My question is, when do they commit to Randy Vasquez going forward and say, we believe in you more than just the first 2 times through the order? Because I think they sent a message to him yesterday that may be a little difficult for him to shake.
I agree with that.
And this is where...
Unless he has been told by the team and he is aware of it and he knows it.
I'm sure he's been told it, but if he's been told it, that drives home the point even further. We don't think you can get anybody out the 3rd time through the order. We're taking you out. How does Randy Vasquez ever get past that? Or do the Padres just finish up the season with a 4-inning starting pitcher in their rotation?
Could be, I guess.
I don't know. I think that's the bigger question here. And does Randy Vasquez mentally get to the point where he feels, you know what, they trust me, I can go 6. I can go 7. Because if he couldn't go 6 yesterday, he can almost never go 6. Because you said it correctly. He was on point all day except for 1 pitch. And I don't think any pitcher should ever be taken out of a game for 1 pitch.
That sends a worse message to me than anything.
Right.
I was looking through arguments because I knew this was going to come up today.
Okay.
And so I looked at Randy Vasquez's game log, and here are his number of innings pitched for the last. I'll just keep going down the list.
Okay.
From yesterday down: 4 2/3, 4 2/3, 3 1/3, and then in May, 6 1/3, 4 2/3, 6, 6, 5. So they have let him pitch deeper into games, but the most recently, he's ever gone is 6 1/3, and not recently. The last 3 or 4
starts, he has not made the 5th inning in any of them. So I think that's the bigger question here. Because what came up on the roundtable is, hey, do you think if we could get a friendly deal, should we sign Randy Vasquez long term? After all, we have a lot of free agents on the staff. Do you like Randy Vasquez? Well, I don't. If they don't want to let him ever pitch past the 4th inning, seems silly to me. And if you don't believe in Vasquez to get through the 5th inning, why do you believe in Kolek? Why do you believe in Ryan Bergert? My guess is you don't. And if that's the case, now 60% of your rotation is not pitching more than 4 or 5 innings. And that's going to destroy your bullpen.
And Mike Schultz said the other day that his bullpen has been taxed in so many words. And he said we need more length out of the starters. But you are responsible, Mike Schultz, for taking the starter out of the game. So you're putting more innings on the bullpen when you have a guy like Randy Vasquez who's looking good. You're putting your bullpen in there in the 6th inning.
Yeah. Did he really?
Or 5th inning, I'm sorry.
Let's be honest. He did not need to come out of that game in any way, shape, or form yesterday. They chose to take him out. Now, my question is, what are they doing with him moving forward? And again, we won't find out next week because I can bet you anything that he will not see Shohei Ohtani for a 3rd time at Dodger Stadium.
That's really interesting. I'm going to be looking forward to seeing what happens.
All right. That's the first of the major items that's left over. And since we missed our first time, I can get this in real quick. The second one is this, and it was Woodsy who brought this up. Ben asked the question, what is the deal with having Luis Campusano still on the team?
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Woodsy was the first person that I've heard say this. Is this another petty competition? What he meant by that is it possible that Mike Shildt just really hates Luis Campusano to the point where he is not going to let him play? But if that's true, and it looks like it is, he hasn't played for a month, and I want to get into his at-bat the other night in that one at-bat he had.
Against Kike?
Against Kike, because Braden brought this point up, and it was another good point. But if Mike Shildt really doesn't like Campusano, and it's pretty clear he doesn't, then is A.J. Preller forcing Campusano to be on the roster? And that is where we have had this happen with the Padres before.
Was it Alfaro?
Alfaro. We've had others, guys that were on the roster that the manager didn't really want. I'm not saying that is happening now, but I'm saying it explains a lot, because if Mike Shildt has gone to AJ and said, I can't use Campusano, I don't feel comfortable with him, AJ's response should be, well, let me find somebody in our system that you can use, because you shouldn't be going out there a man short every single night.
No.
You just shouldn't. And when somebody says, well, maybe they don't have any better than Campusano, maybe, but you could find the fastest guy in your rookie league and call him up for Campusano and at least have another pinch runner. So you could find something. So what is really going on there? Why is Campusano on this team, or why is he not being used? What is happening? I hope it doesn't blow up somewhere.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Matt Carpenter thing where we were all asking
Matt Carpenter
that
was on the
question.
roster for weeks and weeks
Months,
and weeks
months.
and months, and they didn't want to use him.
No.
And now here we are with a similar situation. I think Woods was fair to bring it up.
It's definitely something I haven't really thought about.
All right. Couple of more things on Campusano and the rest of sports on this Thursday. When we come back, Gwynn and Chris underway.
Sure.
the schedule makers just decide one day, oh, the second week in June is going to be NL West week.
Right. Finally, these teams can play each other. By the way, Giants are ahead 7-5, bottom of the 7th inning in Denver. All right. Here's what Braden brought up, having to do with Campusano finally being summoned to hit the other night. Remember, he hadn't played at all since the end of last month. I think it was 2 weeks or almost 2 weeks since he even saw the light of day. He did come up to pinch hit the other night, but it was against Kike Hernandez. And Braden said he found that to be almost more embarrassing to Campusano
I was thinking
than to
that.
just leave him on the bench in the first place.
I was thinking that, like, hey, we don't have any at-bats for you, but you can have an at-bat against Kike.
Yeah, we'll give you an at-bat against a position player. Anyway, I don't think Mike Schultz was thinking that. I think he was probably thinking, well, let me get this guy in there. But to the rest of us, it kind of smacks of, we know you hate this guy, and you've proven it by only giving him a chance to play. Now, look, Campusano doesn't deserve a lot of playing time. We should throw this in there. He's 0 for 14, although he has walked 6 times. So he's been on base 30% of the time. So he doesn't deserve a whole lot of time. My point, and I think everybody else on the panel's point, was you cannot afford to just waste a roster spot on a guy that the manager will not play. And it seems to be, and this is where Woodsy came in, seems to be it indicates a bit of a disconnect between the person putting the roster together and the person responsible for using that roster. If they were together, Campusano wouldn't be here. Somebody else would, anybody that they could use. And I could see it for a couple of days, but 2 weeks, that's not smart. That's just not smart.
Maybe
that's
they don't think
that's not what's doing best for your team or your organization.
Maybe they just don't think that AAA is the best place for him. Maybe sticking
first
with
of all,
the big league club
I don't really
him...
care what's best for him. What I care about is what's best for the Padres. And best for the Padres is not having a roster spot that's not being used at all. That's not best for the Padres. I don't see how you can even argue that.
I would say, I definitely think that Tirso or Nellis could be someone that they could give a shot to. I mean, they
really
need a guy who's in left field.
If they don't think he's ready, if they don't think this guy's ready, if they don't think that guy's ready, if they can come up with excuses for a lot of things, you can't tell me that a pinch runner wouldn't be better than a dead roster spot. Just can't.
I guess it's not really a dead roster spot.
Pretty dead.
It's pretty dead, but not really a dead roster spot.
All right. Those are a couple things that we talked about. You'll hear a whole bunch more about that if you listen to the roundtable between 5 and 6. Couple of things on the game last night. I talked about it earlier. Oklahoma City's greatness was not really on display here. Indiana dominates the fourth quarter, and they take a 2-1 series lead. Here's the thing that I keep seeing that is driving me crazy. I'm sure there's a few NBA people out there, maybe some who are just kind of watching the series because it's the finals. But this Shea Gilgeous-Alexander guy pushes off every single time. Every single time. He gets the ball. He drives toward the basket. He shoves the defender away with his offhand, and then he's wide open to make a jumper. I don't know why they don't ever call a foul, but they don't, so he's okay to get away with it. I just don't care for it. I don't care for it. You've got to give the defender some chance to guard a guy, and I don't think you can just allow him to shove the defender away before every shot he takes, and it is every shot he takes because I watched for it the entire second half last night, and every shot he took, he did that.
The NBA has a problem with this.
I don't understand that.
The NBA has a problem with this, and this is one of the reasons that I have not really tuned into it, is because the NBA just they don't call traveling. They don't call fouls that are fouls. But then when LeBron complains, they give him like 25 free throws.
Yeah, a lot of people might say, well, he's the MVP, so he deserves it. No, he doesn't. If he's that good, make him get a shot without pushing the defender away. That drives me crazy.
Has he been doing it all season?
I don't know. I don't watch Oklahoma City. I've been watching them lately, and I've been, keyed in on SGA because he's the league MVP. I want to see what this guy does. Well, I can tell you what he does. He pushes off before every shot he takes. And he also disappeared last night with 1 field goal and no assists in the fourth quarter when Indiana was running away with the game. SGA, that is not an MVP performance. Sorry, it's not.
You really don't like him for some reason.
I don't dislike him personally.
I know. That's not what I'm talking about.
Guy.
That's not what I'm talking about.
I think he's, good for basketball. He's not in any trouble. But I don't find him to be of MVP caliber.
Who would you have named MVP of the NBA this year?
Jokic, probably.
Really? Again?
Probably. Yeah.
He got his coach fired.
They stupidly fired their coach. I'm not going to make him be credited for that.
Keeping It Real says, how about moving screens, Chris?
How about what, calling some of them?
Yeah, because they do move the screens like crazy.
Yeah, well, yeah, but they do call some. They don't ever call SGA for pushing off. I haven't seen it called yet.
Well, now I'm going to have to look for it.
Watch for it, and you watch how much separation he gets before he goes up for a shot. The defender is usually backpedaling 2 or 3 feet while he's rising up to shoot.
So why?
And that's because he pushes off.
So why wouldn't the opposing coach ever say, hey, watch for him to push off on every single play?
I have a problem with it.
Is there a no push off
Look,
rule?
you almost can't blame him for it. It's not a foul unless they call it.
Exactly.
So he's getting away with what they're letting him get away with.
I understand, though. It's annoying.
All right. When we come back, I've been saving these things, and I'm going to give them to you when we return. I got 2 things, the only 2 things that matter with the Padres moving forward. The only 2. I'll tell you what they are when Gwynn and Chris returns.
Joseph Musgrove in the building.
Give him a round of applause, everyone.
What's up? It's not a bad setup right here, huh?
No, not at all. Not at all. How you doing, Joe?
I feel great, man. Yeah, really good. Excited.
I heard you say on the stage today, 2 months away from throwing a baseball.
Yeah.
What are those 2 months going to be like for you?
A lot of patience, I've been working really hard, man. Been really diligent with the rehab. The strengthening stuff has all been, right on par. I've kind of hit every checkpoint with ease. And that was something that was told to me early on is like, really give it the time that you need on the front end. You don't throw for 6 months regardless. So, don't try to go out and be a hero and get yourself throwing in 4 months. Just, do all the rehab, hit all the checkpoints, and then, maybe make up some time on the back end, once I'm consistently throwing. So strength feels really good. It's just, getting the shoulder moving again and back in like certain ranges before I start playing catch.
For those who may not know, I don't think it was ever going to be in question whether Joe was going to attack his rehab the way he has already started to attack it. This is one of the most hard and working people I've ever been around. But this is new territory for you.
Yeah.
I mean, you are a guy who I consider well-educated on anything he's about to walk through.
Yeah.
What was your education like leading up to surgery? I know you must have talked to a billion people. You don't leave stones unturned.
Yeah.
What was that like, getting yourself prepared for this surgery?
Yeah, I got a notebook full of pages of conversations, phone calls, doctor visits. I vetted 3-4 different doctor options. Called everybody I knew that had Tommy John. Called guys that had it twice, and what the difference was the second time around compared to the first. So
this is your first, correct?
My first one, yeah. So I feel like I've done every bit of the homework that I could. I feel like I was as prepared and as educated on the process as possible. And now it's just putting the the lessons that I've learned from other people and their experiences, along with the feel and the trust that I have for myself.
We're talking to Joe Musgrove here on 97.3 The Fan. And Joe, last year you called into our show. And
yeah, there we go.
You played a prank on me, and it was a really good prank because my heart stopped a beat for a second, and it still does. But
I appreciate you doing that. This is the first time we've actually been able to talk about it.
A little locker room talk. It's all good, baby.
I told him, I told these folks that his eyes almost popped out of his head when Joe got on that phone.
Well, yeah, when I'm told I can't come into the clubhouse, it's a little concerning, considering, I'm not that crazy of a guy, but
no,
anyway.
you're good by us down there. You're
Okay,
welcome
good.
whenever.
All right. I just wanted to ask you about the mental side of things, because it's got to be hard knowing you're coming into the year you're not going to pitch.
Right.
But you still have to keep working. How do you stay in that zone?
I think, first off, it's a little bit of a relief. It's a chance to kind of step back from, the constant mentality and approach of like being on edge and getting ready and prepared, and just the stresses that, any ball player deals with on the day-to-day of like mechanics feeling out of whack, or as spring gets closer, maybe you haven't hit the checkpoints that you want to hit, or things aren't, as consistent as you like it to be. So not having to deal with those stresses has been super nice. I've been able to focus on life a little bit, got engaged, got a new home, made some moves. So it's been really good. And I think, once I had the surgery, I knew what was ahead of me and, how long the road was. And, it took a little while to get to a good headspace, but I feel like I'm in a great spot now. And, I was saying earlier out on the stage, I'm not claiming to be Superman, but I really believe in my ability to heal and, my ability to, to push my body and get it ready. So I'm preparing and shooting for a return in the postseason at some point. And if, we're a month away from that and I realize it's a long shot, I'm completely fine with, sitting out and, preparing for 26. But I keep myself busy, man. I've really tried to be an extension of the coaching staff and, provide, assistance and help and, experience and, things that help these younger guys and, some of our guys that are transitioning to a starting role, help their careers grow. So, keep myself busy and keeping tasks, to have, at my fingertips, things to work on has been a good relief for me.
Joseph Musgrove in the building.
Give him a round of applause, everyone.
What's up? It's not a bad setup right here, huh?
No, not at all. Not at all. How you doing, Joe?
I feel great, man. Yeah, really good. Excited.
I heard you say on the stage today, 2 months away from throwing a baseball.
Yeah.
What are those 2 months going to be like for you?
A lot of patience, I've been working really hard, man. Been really diligent with the rehab. The strengthening stuff has all been, right on par. I've kind of hit every checkpoint with ease. And that was something that was told to me early on is like, really give it the time that you need on the front end. You don't throw for 6 months regardless. So, don't try to go out and be a hero and get yourself throwing in 4 months. Just, do all the rehab, hit all the checkpoints, and then, maybe make up some time on the back end, once I'm consistently throwing. So strength feels really good. It's just, getting the shoulder moving again and back in like certain ranges before I start playing catch.
For those who may not know, I don't think it was ever going to be in question whether Joe was going to attack his rehab the way he has already started to attack it. This is one of the most hard-working people I've ever been around. But this is new territory for you.
Yeah.
I mean, you are a guy who I consider well-educated on anything he's about to walk through.
Yeah.
What was your education like leading up to surgery? I know you must have talked.
Wrong. Former winner of the U.S. Open here at Torrey Pines, making a little move here on the back nine, 2 under, and judging by his last approach shot, I think on the 14th hole, Skraby, he's about to be 3 under. JJ Spawn, the Aztec, is the leader in the clubhouse at 4 under par. Sunjay M, who's still on the course, went to 5 under and now has fallen back to 4 under. We'll keep you up to date. There's a lot of big names that are plus a lot, and we'll get to that. Also keep you up to date on this Giants Rockies 7-5 Gigantes, top of the 8th. Giants trying to move into a tie for first place with the Dodgers.
Ooh, Rocky's attendance looks a little
paltry finally.
Yeah, finally.
I don't think it matters. I don't even think the owner care. Woody Page, who's the great writer.
Yeah, Denver Post.
He's a retired writer, but still keeps a very close eye on the Denver sports scene. In a tweet last week said that Dick Monfort has not spoken publicly since March. Hasn't said a word about what has happened and is happening historically bad to his team.
Do you think that he needs to?
Would you? If you owned you wouldn't?
Not if I'm Dick Monfort and I do not care.
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm asking you, though. you would care.
Yes.
And if your product was this bad, you would beg a little forgiveness from your fan base
Absolutely.
and say, hey, we're working on it. We hate it too, blah, blah, blah. He hasn't spoken.
I mean, he has a fan base that doesn't care that his team is bad.
Apparently not.
It's a wild situation.
Yes, it is. All right, here we go. We already talked about, Vasquez. We talked about Campusano. We had long discussions yesterday about whether Manny should have swung. We've had conversations about this, that, and the other thing. And whether or not, Darvish will ever come back, and where's Michael King, and who's going to get the job done, and the catchers don't hit, and I don't know how many more hundreds of topics have come up this season, right? And how many hundreds more will come up. But I'm here to tell you, there's only two things going forward that matter. There's only two. And before I tell you what the two things are, let's understand that so far, what we're getting from the Padres is about what we should have expected in most areas. There's a few things that are a little better, few things that are a little worse, but ultimately the fact is they're 9 games over 500. They are in a wild card spot. If the season were to end today, they are 2.5 games clear of the Cardinals right now. And I think somewhat fortunately, they're only 2 games out of first place because the Dodgers haven't run away and hid. The Padres could use a little bit more power overall. I keep talking about the 3-run homer. I'll say what, Skraby, I won't talk about that anymore. I'll just talk about the homer in general. The Padres currently rank ahead of only 3 teams in baseball in terms of number of home runs hit. This is the day and age of the home run. Padres need to find some power somewhere, somehow. They have 57 homers. Just by comparison, the Dodgers have 105. I don't see how you're supposed to beat that team when those things are happening. But
limit home runs when you're playing them.
Well, okay, don't give them any, right?
Yeah.
Well, they got one yesterday, and it was the game. But that, again, is still not where we're going. They've got some injuries, but I think the pitching has been as advertised. Really good in general overall, with a few hiccups here and there. ERA is 3.44. We're way up there in the league there. Bullpen overall has been one of the best in baseball. Hitting has been spotty on the other side. We have not scored as many runs as we like. But I think the Padres are about where they are, except for 2 things. And here are the 2 things that absolutely, positively must change, and they must change soon if the Padres are going to ultimately get where they want to go. These are the only 2 things that matter. It's not Xander Bogaerts. Xander Bogaerts, for better or worse, in most of your minds worse, Xander Bogaerts is about where I think he's just going to be now.
This is him.
He's a 250 hitter with
640 OPS
with less than 50 RBIs. He is stealing a base or 2 for you, and he's playing solid defense. Good enough.
Yep.
That's Bogaerts. It's not changing, and you're not trading him, and you're not releasing him. So that isn't what this is. It's also not Jake Cronenworth. I've come to the realization that Jake is about what he is as well. I mean, this is about the 3rd straight year. He's got 4 homers. He'll be lucky to get 50 RBIs. He hits 237, doesn't do much against lefties. This is Jake Cronenworth. We love him a lot more than we love Bogaerts, so we're not nearly as hard on him.
True.
The catchers, Maldonado and Diaz, are going to do what they do, which is hit about 190 and give you a home run once a month. That's what they've done. That's what they're going to do. Here's what you absolutely have to have. Number 1, you got to get Jackson Merrill out of this slump. Jackson Merrill bats cleanup. Am I correct?
Yes, he
bats
does.
right behind Manny Machado.
Yes.
The reason I know this without even talking to Manny, I know the reason he swung 3-0 yesterday is because he felt
Jackson
right
wasn't
there
going to get the job done.
he had to do something.
Yeah.
Merrill has been struggling. It would have been lefty on lefty. And Manny expanded the strike zone and swung at a strike that wasn't really much of a hitter's pitch. But I believe had Jackson Merrill been doing what he normally does, Manny would have waited for a better pitch. Jackson Merrill, since coming back on May 6th, homered on May 7th. In the 1 month and 5 days since then, he's hit 1 home run. This is your cleanup hitter. He's hit 1. He was hitting 467 on May 12th. I know that wasn't possible to keep up. I get that. But since then, a whole month, May 12th, today's June 12th, he's hitting 210. Jackson Merrill, in the last 27 games, again a month, has exactly 2 multiple RBI games. And both of them were just 2 RBIs. If you're going to go anywhere, Jackson Merrill has to pick it back up. I think he can. I think he very possibly will. But if you want to know what matters right now, Jackson Merrill getting it back matters big time. Well, he's the cleanup hitter. He has to start performing at least somewhat like that.
And the team came into the year banking on him being one of the better hitters of the team.
It's an absolute necessity if they are going to go anywhere. And don't tell me, well, let's just take him out of the cleanup spot, because please tell me a better option. We don't have one. I just gave you the rest of the guys. None of them are cleanup hitters either. Jackson Merrill's got to go. So got to get going. I don't mean got to go. That's not what I meant.
What obviously. If you swap Manny and Jackson?
And then
I guess you're going righty, lefty, lefty, righty.
And then what? Jackson's coming up in the 3rd hole with guys on base. He's got to start driving some of them in.
Or do you think that he needs to go back to where he was last year, just to kind of find things like 6th or 7th?
I can't, because I have no replacement. If I take him out of 4th, I create a bigger problem by putting someone else there. That's number one.
No, let me stop you right there. Are you saying that Merrill, because he is the cleanup hitter, that is the problem? If he was hitting 6th or 7th, would that still be one of your...
The reason I believe Jackson Merrill turning it is huge and imperative is because he's capable of way more than what he's doing.
Yes, he is.
And for a month and a half, he's been nowhere near what he's capable doing. The other guys I mentioned earlier, I don't think they're capable of a whole lot more. So I'm not going to wait for it.
Yeah.
Jackson Merrill, way more capable.
Yes.
Now that I've told you one thing that is absolutely imperative moving forward, you should be able to guess the second thing.
It's Fernando.
It is absolutely Fernando.
I think
Tatis
Fernando's
Jr.
number 1 of those 2.
Well, I gave it to you in reverse order.
I
started with 2.
Sorry.
This is number 1. Here's Fernando.
I don't know how numbers work.
Here's Fernando. First of all, for the season, and this includes everything he did in April.
Yeah.
For the season, he's currently 78 points lower than his career OPS. So just off the top, we know he's capable of better. Number 2, and this is really dragging on now. May 1st was a long time ago.
Yeah.
He is hitting 188 in that span. And he doesn't lead the world in walks. He gets some, but he's not exactly, Max Muncy or...
he's taking more walks now.
He's taking some, but 188, that can't continue. He has 10 extra base hits in the last 36 games. Tells me he's getting 1 double every 4 games. Not enough. The last 4 weeks, Skraby, like that's before I went to Denver on my little trip.
Yes.
4 weeks was before Braden left for Europe. 4 weeks is a long time ago.
I was still
Fernando
39 4 weeks
That's
ago.
right. You were still younger.
Yeah.
Fernando Tatis Jr. in 4 weeks has 2 RBIs. And both of those were on solo homers where he drove himself in.
Now, how much is that because he's a leadoff hitter?
A lot of it.
Okay.
We already know that the bottom
he's
of
not
the
hitting as a leadoff hitter,
right.
so that's
but
part of it too.
we all know the bottom of the order is really almost automatic out times 3. But again, the bottom of the order is going to be the bottom of the order. This is what these guys are going to do. Fernando cannot keep doing this. It is 100% imperative. And I will add one last thing on Fernando's stat line. That's important. He's a right-handed hitter who should obliterate lefties. He's hitting 197 against lefties. And if he can't hit lefties, who's going to do it? Merrill, Sheets, Cronenworth, Wade, Hayward, they're all lefties. You can't expect much from them consistently. Don't let me forget Arise, another lefty.
Yeah.
So if Fernando's not doing it, who's going to? The only righties left are Manny and Bogarts, and we know we're not getting it from Bogarts. Manny has been doing it, but as we saw this week, a one-man team cannot carry you where you need to go.
No, but if Manny hasn't been doing what he's been doing this year, this team is below 500.
I don't even want to think about it. You're absolutely right. If Manny wasn't doing what he was doing right now, they would be 10 games back.
Yeah.
The only difference is they'd be like 6 back in the wild card also.
I think it is time. I think it is time to switch with the lineup a little bit. I just don't know how to go about it. And I know that Mike Schilt said maybe last week that he's not ready to do that yet. But how much of a sample size do you need before you're ready to do something like that?
Well, first of all, look, you always try things. The problem that Schilt has is that by potentially fixing one problem, he opens up 2 more.
True.
Because if he takes Fernando out of leadoff, the only other even real possibility is Arise, and we keep talking about it, but he's not a great leadoff hitter.
I mean, he's not hitting. Well, he's hitting. He's not hitting to his standards.
278 is not enough,
especially with standards.
Especially with no walks and no ability to steal a base. And if you take Merrill out of 4th, who's there? And I know somebody might say, well, how about Sheets? Against a right-handed pitcher, I might give it to you. Against a left-handed pitcher, frankly, Sheets should not be in there. He is another one of the automatic outs when left-handed pitchers are on the mound. But I've already gotten more than I could ever expect or want from Sheets. The 2 things that are going to matter going forward are Tatis and Merrill. It's on those 2 guys. They've got to pick it back up. And I'll tell you another thing. If we're sitting here in a week and a half and both guys have picked it up, I bet you anything the Padres are on a roll.
Yep.
Because those 2 guys can change it.
What I do think is something that we need to kind of pay attention to as well is this team is still winning somehow.
Yes.
I know that they're under 500 in this stretch of a long stretch.
Well, they're 7-6 in the first 13 games.
Oh, so they're over 500.
Well, the first 13 games they went 7-6. They're off today. Now they'll play 13 more. You're 100% right.
I mean, they're winning somehow throughout all of these problems.
I know, but I don't know that it can continue. Because I don't know that Manny can just be asked to carry it for the rest of the year. At some point,
hear me out.
The guys who should be helping are going to have to help.
Hear me out.
I will.
Let's change the lineup.
Change the lineup.
What
do you want to do?
Everybody's going to hate me for this one.
What do you got?
Xander Bogaerts leading off. And the reason I say Xander Bogaerts leading off is because he does walk.
He's stolen 13 bases.
And he's not going to clog up the bases.
His on-base percentage is better than Arise's. So that's something.
Xander Bogaerts gets on base.
I'm not agreeing with you, but
I know you're not agreeing with me. I'm not even agreeing with myself.
I know. I'm trying to support your claim because most people would say
that's crazy.
Well, it's out number 1. Go ahead. What's
you
next?
know what? And those people that say that, not wrong. But he does get on base and he can't steal bases as well.
Okay,
Arise can't do that.
Lead him off.
And then I'm going to go with Arise because he's got nowhere else in this lineup to hit.
Okay.
And then I'm putting Fernando I'm putting Manny at 3. I'm going to keep him there. And then I'm putting Fernando at the cleanup spot. Even though Fernando has not been great, I want to put him at the cleanup spot so that
so they can scare people into giving Manny more to hit.
Maybe. I mean, I'm not thinking that deep into this whole thing, but maybe Fernando down in the lineup a little bit will give him a little bit of a break from the leadoff spot. And then you put Merrill in the 6th or 7th spot. I'll say put him at the 6th spot, put Sheets at the 5th spot.
Okay.
7th would be Jake Cronenworth, and then the rest of it's the same. But you got to figure out how to get the front, the first part of the lineup going, the leadoff spot, and you got to figure out how to get 6 through 9 going.
You're not going to get 6 through 9 going because those guys can't go anywhere. They just can't. You're getting this is Jake. This is Lockridge. This is Elias Diaz. This is what these guys are. You're not going to all of a sudden start blowing people out with the bottom 3 in your lineup. And this is why I said yesterday, hard as it is for me to come to terms with it, the Dodgers are better because from 5 to 9, they have guys that can hit. We don't.
That stuck with me all night last night, Chris.
I apologize for that.
It stuck with me because you're right. You're right. Tommy Edman hitting 8th, I believe. That's a good 8 hitter.
Pretty good. Hai-Sung Kim's hitting over 400.
I'm ready for him to come back to earth at some point.
But Edman, Max Muncy, Andy Pajes.
Andy Pajes is really good.
They're at the bottom of their order. We don't have that.
At least the Padres don't have the embarrassment of riches that the Dodgers do. And our Dodgers are kind of keeping up, They're setting the pace a little bit, but they're not way out front.
No, we appreciate the fact that they haven't run away from us. And the other thing that you brought up that we should appreciate before we get, completely upset is the fact that the Padres are still finding some ways to win. And that is a really good sign. And that's what good teams do. Despite all of these issues that we have now talked an hour about, still gone 7-6 against a pretty good run of schedule. And they're still only 2 games behind.
See, ultimately, I know that people are worried about everything else, but ultimately, the standings are the only thing. I don't know why my voice just cracked. The standings, Chris, are the only thing that matter. And somehow the Padres are putting up W's more often than L's.
Break time, daily gambit. Boy, that's a sore subject with me. We'll tell you about that when we come back.
Tony Gwynn Jr. here.
All right, it's time for the Beaver Nuggets. So the story is somehow Buc-ee's got brought up. I think Frank brought it up.
Yes.
And it's a rest stop / mall / entertainment zone, super center. And someone said on the chat yesterday that they have like 100. They went to one with like 100 gas pumps, which is a lot, I guess. But while we were talking about this, Sam Levitt was in New York listening, and he goes, "Put me on, put me on, put me on." And so we put him on, and he's talking about how much he loves Buc-ee's. And so we got into the conversation, and it ended up being about the Beaver Nuggets. And so I had to order them because I find the name Beaver Nuggets very gross. I find it gross. But we're going to go with this. It's kind of like a Cheeto / a corn pop.
It's like a cheese doodle.
A cheese doodle. And we're going to eat them right now. I don't think these are bad, but here we go. I like it. It tastes like a corn pop.
I was just saying it tastes like a waffle, really.
It does kind of taste like a waffle. You know what? I'm in. These are good.
Yeah, I'm not.
You want another one?
No, I don't want another one. But yeah, I mean, it tastes like a waffle, like a waffle with syrup on it.
It's pretty good. I gotta say, I'm not hating these at all. Actually, they're very good. I like this. The waffle is a perfect explanation. If you've ever had, I'm sorry, I'm talking on the microphone with food in my mouth. But if you've ever had a what is it? A Lay's potato chip that's waffle flavor. It's kind of like that. Sad Fryer says, "Are they cheesy?" No, they're not cheesy at all. Actually, they're sweet.
No, it's like a hard waffle with syrup on it, with dried encrusted syrup on it.
Now I don't exactly know what the puff is. It could be just fake something.
Most likely. I mean,
it's like caramel a little bit too. All right, I gotta stop eating these because I will eat the whole bag. I love these things. I'm gonna leave them here though because I will eat this if I go home. It's just gonna be a bunch of beaver nuggets in my bed as I sleepwalk or something like that. All right, it's time for the beaver nuggets. So the story is somehow Buc-ee's got brought up. I think Frank brought it up.
Yes.
And it's a rest stop / mall / entertainment zone, super center. And someone said on the chat yesterday that they have like 100. They went to one with like 100 gas pumps, which is a lot, I guess. But while we were talking about this, Sam Levitt was in New York listening, and he goes, "Put me on, put me on, put me on." And so we put him on, and he's talking about how much he loves Buc-ee's. And so we got into the conversation, and it ended up being about the beaver nuggets. And so I had to order them because I find the name Beaver Nuggets very gross. I find it gross. But we're going to go with this. It's kind of like a Cheeto / a corn pop.
It's like a cheese doodle.
A cheese doodle. And we're going to eat them right now. I don't think these are bad, but here we go. I like it. It tastes like a corn pop.
I was going to say it tastes like a waffle, really.
It does kind of taste like a waffle. You know what? I'm in. These are good.
Yeah, I'm not.
You want another one?
No, I don't want another one. But yeah, I mean, it tastes like a waffle, like a waffle with syrup on it.
It's pretty good. I gotta say, I'm not hating these at all. Actually, they're very good. I like this. The waffle is a perfect explanation. If you've ever had, I'm sorry, I'm talking on the microphone with food in my mouth. But if you've ever had a what is it? A Lay's potato chip that's waffle flavor. It's kind of like that. Sad Fryer says, "Are they cheesy?" No, they're not cheesy at all. Actually, they're sweet.
No, it's like a hard waffle with syrup on it, with dried encrusted syrup on it.
Now I don't exactly know what the puff is. It could be just fake something.
Most likely. I mean,
it's like caramel a little bit too. All right, I gotta stop eating these because I will eat the whole bag. I love these things.
Earlier, I don't even know that I did.
I don't know either.
I think his daughter's graduating today. I could be wrong.
Promoting. I don't ask questions.
I don't even know what promoting is. So.
That's the new term for graduation.
Yeah, well, can I use the old term? Do you mind?
I mean, you're going to get parents out there angry with you.
And what is there really to be angry about?
I'm not sure. I called it a graduation the other day, and someone quickly told me it was a promotion.
Whatever.
And you know what? They're setting these kids up for failure because these kids think that you just get promotions.
I don't know. Give them all a trophy for getting promoted. That's the softness of our society. All right. See this? It can be yours.
Ooh.
On Monday, June 23rd. For those on the radio, you can't see it. It is a Fernando Tatis bat flip bobblehead presented by Serve Pro. Fernando's wearing the City Connects uni. He's got the pine tar all over his helmet, which he normally does.
Yep.
And it is a bat flip because the bat actually flips. Anyway, the bobblehead can be yours. First 40,000 people on June 23rd. First pitch at 6:40. Padres and the Washington Nationals. Speaking of the Nationals, they scored 3 in the 9th today, but lost to the Metropolitans 4-3. The Metropolitans have the best record in MLB right now.
Yeah, they're just chugging away.
Yes, they are. Kodai Senga, though, bad news.
Yes.
Went up to try to catch a throw covering first base, came down holding his hammy.
I think it's a calf.
Calf, hammy. I don't know that they've reported yet, the Mets, what the ailment is or the official word is.
Well, he's on the IL.
Oh, they did. They already put him on the IL?
Let me just confirm that.
Confirm that. But that's a big deal for the Mets.
Oh, you're right. Hamstring.
Yeah, that's a big
Headed
deal.
to IL with hamstring
Headed
strain.
to IL. That's a big deal for the Mets because Senga's been the one healthy starter that they've had. And they still have the best record in baseball.
How do you
they're
pull
gonna
a
be without
hammy
him.
jumping? Never.
These guys are, I don't want to say they're soft, but oh my God, you're right. If the throw is like 1 inch off the mark and you got to strain your arm, everything breaks down.
It is kind of crazy.
Like, I don't get it.
Like the whole thing with Matt Sauer pitching 111 pitches the other day. I read comments of like his arm's gonna fall off.
Oh my God!
He's a pitcher. That's what he does.
Nolan Ryan once threw 270 pitches in a game. I know it's a different era, but his arm did not fall off.
That is crazy.
All right. Rockies have a couple of guys on here in the 9th trying to tie it against the Giants. What do you think's going to happen?
Right here?
Yeah, you figure the Rockies probably win this game, don't you?
I think they're going to win it.
You think they're going to win it?
I'm going to put it out there.
By the way, the Giants won yesterday by 3 runs. I don't know if you heard this. The Giants won 10-7 in Colorado yesterday. Snapped a streak of 15 consecutive games that the Giants played decided by 1 or 2 runs. 15 in a row.
That's a lot of games.
You think the Padres are making us pull our hair out? San Francisco fans are going through it as well, and they're going through it in the 9th inning right now.
I'm telling you, they called it torture when I was in college up there.
2 guys on for the Rocks, and we'll see. All right, let's get to the daily gambit to get going here in hour number 2, and I'll tell you just how bad I was the other day.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in The Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. Let's go into our bets we made a couple days ago. Padres and Dodgers over under 8 runs in the game on Tuesday night. You went under. Both Tony and I went over. And that was the 11-1 game.
Yeah,
so
I didn't know
12.
Dave Roberts was going to pitch some guy out of the stands for 4 innings.
The Giants are minus 1.5 on the run line over the Rockies. We all went Giants. We were all wrong because the Rockies
That's another one of their one-run games.
6-5.
Yeah. Giants won, but only by 1.
Mackenzie Gore over under 6.5 strikeouts. Chris and I went over. Tony went under. It's very annoying because he had 6.
Yeah,
so
he
was
didn't make
under.
it. Yeah.
The New York
I'm sensing
Liberty.
a trend here. I've lost all 3 so far. Go ahead.
The New York Liberty minus 16.5 on the spread over the Chicago Sky on Tuesday night. You guys went Chicago. I went Liberty. Liberty won by 19.
Yeah. Oh, only by 19. They were up by like 35 at one point.
85,
so they eased off the
66.
gas.
Yeah.
But another loss.
And then finally, Angel Reese over under 10.5 points in the game. Chris said under. Tony and I said over. She had 17.
Lost that one.
And she was 8 for 13 from the floor.
Yeah, it raised her shooting percentage probably to 32% for the year. Anyway, I went 0-5, so that's all you need to know. I'm 5-10 for the week. You're very good this week. 11-4.
Oh, I should be buying a lotto ticket.
So listen to Skraby on the picks. By the way, tomorrow, speaking of Gambit stuff, the World Series starts. Did you know that? College
poker?
World Series.
Oh, I was like, huh?
Who do you think's the favorite to win it all now? There's 8 teams left. Do you even know the 8 teams that are in it?
No, but I'm assuming LSU is going to
LSU is in it. They're second. Arkansas, another SEC team, is the favorite. The longest shot on the board at plus 4,500. Murray State. Come on, racers.
I'm going to talk about this in the Skraby show, but their stadium the grass is cut by the manager. That's how crazy it is that Murray State.
Yeah, they play like in some city park somewhere. Now they're playing in the most beautiful college facility anywhere.
It's an 800 capacity stadium, and the manager cuts the grass.
College World Series was at 30,000, I think.
That's insane.
Something like that. So,
that's insane.
Casey Schmidt, the old Aztec, just kicked a ground ball.
Booted it.
It's now 7-6. Rocky's still batting.
That was a double play, too.
Probably would have ended the game. Yeah, but he cooked it. So now bases loaded, 1 out, 7-6. All right, here we go. Stanley Cup Game 4 tonight. Florida took a 2-1 lead by routing Edmonton the other night, 6-1. And Florida's done that a few times in these playoffs where they just blow somebody right out. Edmonton lost their mind, though. 21 penalties. They retaliated to all of the chippiness, and they lost their composure. I imagine they spent 2 days or 3 days talking about not doing that again tonight. Nevertheless, Florida, the defending champ, is favored by 1.5 goals. Skraby. It's in Florida. Game 4.
1.5. Game 4. I'll go with the Panthers.
Yeah, to take a 3-1, the stranglehold lead, as they say. I'm going to have a little faith in Edmonton. If they're going to win the Cup, they've got to find a way to bounce back tonight.
Tonight's the night.
They have to. They got to get to 2-2. And, we'll see if they can keep their composure. Over-under for goals is 6.5. All 3 games so far have gone over in this final series, which leads me to believe that we're due for an under.
That's what I was thinking.
But they've been going over. I'll say over again. 4 in a row. What do you think?
I'll be the contrarian.
You'll do under? All right, more saves. The Florida goalie, Bobrovsky. The Edmonton goalie, Skinner. Skinner was pulled in Game 3. He has been announced that he's starting in Game 4, however.
Okay, great. Just love it.
I'll take Skinner.
Wow.
He's got to bounce back.
I'm going to take Bobrovsky.
He just heard for 2.5 days how terrible he is. Hunter Goodman strikes out. Bases loaded, 2 gone in the 9th. You're going at Bobrovsky.
This Rodriguez guy's thrown 37 pitches.
Yeah, he's been out there for a while trying to get this save. But, of course, when the Rockies have bases loaded with 1 out, they get the K. Yankees 1.5 at Kansas City tonight. Aaron Judge has homered 3 straight. For those keeping track.
He hit one out of Kauffman Stadium the other day, I believe.
Yeah, he's doing those kinds of Aaron Judge things at the moment. Pitching is Will Warren for the Yankees. Seth Lugo, our old friend for KC. And so because of that, I'll take KC.
Yeah, I'm going to go KC.
Come on, Seth. Detroit and Baltimore, 7.5 runs tonight. Tigers continue to get it done. The Orioles continue not to get it done.
I thought the Orioles had some sort of winning streak going earlier this week.
Maybe.
But it's not like they're over 500.
No, the Orioles are still in the cellar, are they not?
Yes.
In the AL East, they're 14 games behind. They're still 12 games under 500. They're way back there.
I'm going to go over, though.
Baltimore, I'm going to go under. And the reason I'm going under, Tarek Skubal is pitching for Detroit.
Well, okay.
Do you want to change?
Yes, I'm going under now.
You are going to go under.
He's incredible.
He's pretty good. His over-under is 7.5 strikeouts. What do you want to do with that?
Skubal over under 7.5 strikeouts against the Baltimore Orioles. I'm going to go over.
Over. 7.5. Seems like a good bet to do that. And then we have a debut tonight for the Milwaukee Brew Crew. Right-hander Jacob Mizorowski making his debut. He's one of the top prospects in the history of the sport.
Yep.
So much so that the Brewers told Aaron Savali that he's not starting anymore.
Yeah.
And he basically took his glove and pouted and went home and said, you better trade me or I'm not showing whatever. These guys.
We're going to talk about that in the Big Five.
Oh,
but,
are we? Okay.
His agent paints a much different picture.
Yes, I know he
than
does.
You just painted.
Yeah, I know. Orlando Arcia singles to left. The Rockies win it.
Walk off, baby!
2-run single. The Colorado Rockies. There's joy in Denver. for maybe the first or second time all year.
Oh, you got to feel good for those guys a little bit.
No, I do. I'm saying.
Why is the game still tied on the score, though?
Because they don't know how to put the Rockies ahead. There they finally put them
ahead. The computer's
ahead.
like, this doesn't
right. It doesn't compute. Orlando Arcia wins it. Rockies score 3 in the 9th.
Hey, that ends a pretty good winning streak for the Giants.
6 in a row.
Yeah.
Isn't it baseball funny? The Giants pulled out both the first 2 games. Today, they blow the game they should have won.
Kind of like what the Padres did against the Giants last week. They won the games they shouldn't have, and they lost the games they should have won.
Mizorowski, 4.5 strikeouts in his debut against the Cardinals tonight. Under is always the way to go, just because he probably won't pitch very long. What are you going to go?
I'll go over. Why
You'll go over anyway. All right, we'll take a break. More Gwynn and Chris. And we're talking soccer. SDFC fans, Kendra D. St. Aubin, analyst, MLS Season Pass, Apple TV. Our regular soccer visit when we come back after traffic, too.
From
Chris, hello. Yeah, we're here in Cooperstown for 97.3 The Fan. So excited, the induction weekend for the great Trevor Hoffman. What a class he's going in with, too. Let's take a look. Of course, Alan Trammell from Kearney High School in San Diego. And then, of course, the Detroit Tigers, great shortstop. Jack Morris in a Tiger uniform there, but I always remember him pitching that 1-0 shutout in Game 7 of the 1991 World Series for the Minnesota Twins. Maybe the greatest postseason pitching performance of all time. Chipper Jones, Padre fans remember him. Every fan of a National League team remembers him because he would come in and do damage to that team. Only the second #1 overall pick in the Major League Draft, Chipper Jones, to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. The other is Ken Griffey Jr. Vladimir Guerrero. Never met a pitch he couldn't swing at. And powerhouse hitter for the Expos and then, of course, the Angels at the end of his career. Jim Thome, over 600 home runs, mostly with the Cleveland Indians. And then, the guy down here on the end who used to get all these guys out all the time, Trevor Hoffman, the greatest Padre reliever of them all. Two of the greatest outfielders in the history of baseball. Of course, you've got Babe Ruth right here. Ted Williams right over there. I was wondering who the third outfielder would be. And then, of course, it hit me. Tony would be upset if I didn't say that the third outfielder, who will someday probably be displayed right here between these two guys, is obviously Mike Trout. And this is the San Diego Padres locker room here in Cooperstown. Obviously a couple of jerseys there and hats, gloves, all-star stuff. I think the most interesting thing in this entire display, though, especially this weekend, is a picture in the top corner of Angus Young. He's the guitarist for AC/DC, wearing a Trevor Hoffman uniform, obviously playing Hell's Bells. I know that Trevor went to many AC/DC concerts and was honored by sitting in the front row to watch AC/DC play Hell's Bells in his honor. But there's a picture of Angus Young playing Hell's Bells for Trevor Hoffman, wearing the 51 jersey right there. Crisello, yeah, we're here in Cooperstown for 97.3 The Fan. So excited, the induction weekend for the great Trevor Hoffman. What a class he's going in with, too. Let's take a look. Of course, Alan Trammell from Kearney High School in San Diego. And then, of course, the Detroit Tigers, great shortstop. Jack Morris in a Tiger uniform there, but I always remember him pitching that 1-0 shutout in Game 7 of the 1991 World Series for the Minnesota Twins. Maybe the greatest postseason pitching performance of all time. Chipper Jones, Padre fans remember him. Every fan of a National League team remembers him because he would come in and do damage to that team. Only the second #1 overall pick in the Major League Draft, Chipper Jones, to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. The other is Ken Griffey Jr. Vladimir Guerrero, never met a pitch he couldn't swing at, and powerhouse hitter for the Expos, and then, of course, the Angels at the end of his career. Jim Thome, over 600 home runs, mostly with the Cleveland Indians. And then, the guy down here.
Gwynn and Chris program without Tony today. He'll be back with us tomorrow. Padres will be in Arizona tomorrow. Actually, they're probably in Arizona today, but not playing today. Padres currently in third place in the National League West. They are 2 back of the Dodgers. They are 1 back of the Giants after the Giants blew their chance to tie for first place moments ago, losing to the Rockies in Denver 8-7. Let's talk some football, shall we? SDFC has been off for a week or two here, Skraby. Finally, a little rest. Remember, they were playing like 3 games a week there for a while.
Well, they had a friendly.
And they had a friendly in there, right? Mixed in a friendly. Back to work, though, this Saturday against Minnesota United FC. And to broadcast the game, analyst Kendra D. St. Aubin. And she's joining us right now from MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. Kendra, thanks so much for the time. How are you this afternoon or evening, wherever you might be?
I'm great. How are you guys? Yeah, 5:21 where I'm at. But yeah, I guess we could call that late afternoon. It's almost supper time, as I like to say in the Midwest. I don't know if you guys do supper in San Diego, but that's kind of what we call it here.
My grandma was a big, it's time for supper. So
exactly.
Yeah, my mother-in-law is from Denver and originally St. Louis. She doesn't have dinner or have supper. She fixes supper.
Oh, okay.
That's her terminology for it. So
yeah, I totally get that. I can appreciate that.
Yeah, good. Well, now that we've gotten all the important things out of the way, let's get to some soccer talk here. Minnesota, an area you know a lot about, began your career as a youngster there. But we get a big game this weekend. I mean, you look at the I was going to say standings, but no, the table. And although Vancouver's in first place, San Diego, Minnesota tied for second. So this is kind of a big game. I'm kind of fired up for it. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying that because I feel like we have 2 versus 3, 17 games into the season, and you guys just kind of hit it, having been off for a little bit of time. I know they played the friendly against Club America, but in general, coming off of an international break, and then also there's another break after this game. They have June 21st off. So I think this is a good opportunity for both these teams to try to figure out how do they carry that momentum through this couple of breaks after an insane May where everybody was playing just a crazy amount of games.
Yeah.
Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, nonstop. So how do they find momentum in this game when both teams are in such great form, but they are missing a few pieces or guys are coming back from international duties? You never know how they'll come back after the travel and some of their play with the national team.
My question is, because SDFC is an expansion team and they've done pretty well this year, how have you, are expansion teams in MLS normally pretty good out the gate, or how would you grade what SDFC has done in their first year?
Well, I would grade what they've done in the first half of their first year as an A+, because I experienced the expansion of Minnesota United in 2017, meaning they went from NASL to MLS, and it was a challenge. There's just so many new, differences and challenges with roster building, and you have the expansion draft and you're trying to figure out the right way to spend money and all the things. So the fact that San Diego is sitting in second position, 17 games in, it wasn't really like a flash in the pan. It wasn't like, oh, we started 5-0 and then sort of trailed off. Now, if they can continue on this vein, or at least in the top 4 and host a playoff game down the stretch through these challenges of, congested schedule and other competition and Leagues Cup and all the things, secondary transfer window, I think they've been on an incredible path. I mean, I think that, I don't know if even if you ask the front office and if you ask Mikey Barris, if he would have thought they'd be in second place in the Western Conference at this point in the season. It's pretty insane. There's not a lot of teams that have done it. I think maybe LAFC, St. Louis a couple years ago, and then Chicago way back in the day that started off this hot as an expansion club.
Yeah, we're pretty excited about it. Really, I mean, the fan base here, the level of excitement, in San Diego, to me, has done what you just said the team has done, and that is, you got to give it an A+. The fans came out right away. And maybe I expected that because everybody wanted to see what it was all about. But guess what? Here we are 17 games in, and they're just as excited, if not more so. So, it's added the enthusiasm. And I think a lot of people are going to be tuned into this match on Saturday. We're visiting with Kendra D. St. Aubin, analyst for MLS Season Pass. She's got the SDFC Minnesota game or match coming up on Saturday. Vancouver has lost only one match so far. Is that boat sailed, or can we play them here in San Diego in 10 days, but are they that good, or is there a hole that we can exploit from them as well?
No, they're that good. And that's not to say that you can't still exploit something that they're doing or the schedule that they've been playing. But I feel like even Vancouver came here to Minnesota, a month or so ago. Time's kind of a blur. And I remember Vancouver had played even more games because they were in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, and they had this insane schedule, and they rotated their team. And you're thinking, okay, Minnesota United's at home. They're at Allianz Field. Vancouver's got to be exhausted. They've rotated their squad, and they still found a way to beat Minnesota United. So it's kind of one of those teams that I just feel like, even with a new coach, brand new coach for them, they've just found a way. Doesn't mean you can't figure out a way to exploit them. And I know your home crowd has been phenomenal there at Snapdragon. So they can be had. Minnesota went there a couple weeks ago and got a 0-0 draw as I was rewatching all the games for Minnesota and San Diego over the last few weeks. But that's the beauty of this league. I mean, it truly is an incredible amount of parity where anybody can beat anybody on any given day. And Vancouver is on an incredible run, but it doesn't mean they can't be had. So I think that's what's awesome about this league in the Western Conference. And I think San Diego is going to feel pretty good about hosting them and even hitting the road to Minnesota this weekend.
We're talking to Kendra D. St. Aubin, analyst for MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. And the SDFC roster has a lot of really not surprising, but really good stories about how they performed so far in the first part of the year. Anders Dreyer, you have De La Torre, you have Chucky Lozano as well, even though he's been in and out with injury. Is there anyone on this roster that has surprised you for how well they've played so far?
I think, I could say Dreyer, but I feel like I'm selling him short if I say that. And that's only because I personally didn't know enough about him until he came into this league and has done what he's done, and that's like kind of more on me than it is on him, because I think he's sort of been doing this wherever he goes. And it's been an incredible integration into this league, into this country, into this system. And I think that's a credit to the coaching staff. But at the same time, when you look at some of the young players, or some of the players that are getting their opportunities, or when they had the expansion draft and you're bringing players in from other places like Lawfulson or Annabelle Godoy, who was technically a free agent when he was signed, but Reyes, who I know has been injured, but just guys that you're like, okay, they've come into San Diego, they've been in the league. CJ Dos Santos, your goalkeeper, the fact that he's gotten sort of his second chance in MLS with this club and just signed a new contract, the first re-signing, I think, in the club's history. There's just so many good things about this roster, but more importantly, to me, it's the way the staff has integrated them, has put them together, has allowed them to fit into this system, but also allowed them to be themselves. So he's created this system in this style but not taking away who they are as individuals in their playing. Does that make sense? Like giving the freedom to still have that creativity, but they're fitting into the way that the club has this vision. So I think it's just this great combination. Bambino, you know, I mean, is another one, right? The young player who's playing in that left back position, another California guy. You've got some homegrowns there. You've got some guys coming back to play in front of their family. So many good stories. And I just think all of it has combined to make this team what they are, and a really fun team to watch because it seems so cohesive. If I hadn't told you that it was an expansion team and that they've only had one preseason and this 17 games together, I don't think anybody would believe me because they just look very cohesive the way they play together and the way they kind of read each other on the field.
Kendra D. St. Aubin from MLS, you asked if that made sense to us. It does now. It would not have 2.5 months ago. But all of you broadcasters and studio hosts from Apple TV have come on week after week and joined us to talk soccer.
It's been amazing.
And all of us now are a whole bunch smarter. So we thank you and everybody there because it's our first season for many of us. We have diehard soccer people around here, but we have a lot of people that are still learning the sport. And I've enjoyed all of these conversations. You've worked for the Bucks in the NBA, the Brewers, the Packers, and then Phoenix. You covered all the sports there: baseball, football, hockey, and now back to soccer, which is what kind of was your first love as a player. Compare the MLS as a league and soccer as a sport. As somebody who's been involved in all of these leagues throughout the United States.
Well, I can say number one, just purely as a sport, and I do love all sports, as you just mentioned. I covered all of them. But number one, why soccer is my number one love and why it has been even now covering it is because it is so fluid and thinking on your feet. And that I wasn't trying to do a pun there. That's a real thing. But
very good.
Like
good.
When you think of, and this isn't to take anything away from other sports, but as we're watching the NBA finals and as we're watching, we'll get into NFL and college football, and clearly baseball is very sort of like systematic in the way each play and the calling of the pitches and just so many things. Whereas soccer is everybody's on the field. You have 22 players sort of having to work in unison. So you're being individuals, but working together, and you're thinking on the fly, you're problem solving on the fly in the moment. There's no called plays. Yes, we have set pieces, but not to the extent of other teams or other sports, excuse me. And there's no timeouts. So much of it is you problem solving on the field. And there's like this creativity and this free flowing nature of soccer. And then on top of it, when you think of Major League Soccer and MLS compared to the other leagues, I think they've always been the underdog. We talk about underdogs in sports all the time, in particular leagues. But I think MLS is the underdog league when you have these other major sports leagues in this country. So they've always kind of been scrapping and clawing and trying to be relevant, even though the people that love the sport have always found relevance in it. And the way it's just grown in these soccer-specific stadiums and the interest. And then next summer we have the World Cup here, and this summer we have the Summer of Soccer with the Club World Cup and the Gold Cup going on, and just so many things. And you guys are the hotbed of youth soccer in San Diego. I mean, everybody knows about the Surf Cup who's, ever seen a soccer ball in their life because it's just such a tremendous tournament and place to be. So I think when I look at it, I just feel like a tremendous amount of gratitude for soccer in this country and what it's given me. And just seeing it start to climb the ladder and be up there with these other leagues that in the United States of America and in North America, dominate a little bit. Football, basketball, hockey, baseball, those are like the quote unquote American sports. And so I just feel like there's always this underdog mentality, but I just love the free flowing nature and the organic nature, even from a fan perspective. If you guys have been to a San Diego match, like the free flowing organic nature of the fans and the chants and the drums and there's no PA announcer telling you when to yell defense, and clap your hands, like it's all fan based, fan led. And I don't know, there's just something about this sport and this league that I think is just catching people's attention. And that's exactly what it should do. And I've loved it for a long time, but it's fun to see the growth, the prosperity, and all that it's reaching within youth soccer and, adults alike getting their first taste of the sport.
Well said. Very well said. And, just to piggyback a little on you talking about the enthusiasm and the spirit and the feeling you get watching a match. I was lucky enough to be in Barcelona a couple summers ago, and we went to a match. And what we have in San Diego, although we can't match, the history of that, it's pretty favorable. The fans here really do a great job and make it exciting. And it's a similar feeling. So I think you've hit on something there. We got to let you go. We're a little late, and you probably have to run and fix dinner. So
supper,
Fix
Chris.
supper.
Yeah, I got to throw my hand in
dinner.
I was all ready for my joke, and then I kicked it.
Supper.
Fix supper. Hey, thanks, Kendra, for the time. Enjoy the match this weekend. We'll be watching.
Sounds great. Thank you, guys.
You bet. Kendra D. St. Aubin from the MLS Season Pass. She's got Minnesota and San Diego FCs. Both teams tied for second. So good match Saturday. And then the next one, when the SDFC gets back home Wednesday, June 25th, it'll be Vancouver, first place. So the next two are going to be biggies, as they say. Skraby, you better get us to break before you get mad at me.
What's next? Oh, 30 Mile Zone is next. I got some sports celebrity gossip for everybody out there.
I bet you do.
I do.
All right.
Next.
Ben and
from our MLS guests. Today, Kendra D. St. Aubin from Apple TV, MLS, SDFC, Minnesota. 5:30 Saturday kickoff. Skraby, don't be late.
Okay.
For the big match.
You know what? I gotta go work for Apple because even though I'm not a big fan of the iPhone, Apple seems to care about their product.
They have a lot of people employed that have come on our show.
We have not had one person twice.
Everybody's been really terrific. Really good.
All engaged, all there when we call them. This whole thing with Apple and the MLS season pass getting these guests has been amazing.
A lot of fun. And I've learned I've learned a lot about soccer from them. And it's made watching these matches more enjoyable.
Yes.
All right. Not much going on at the moment. We had some day baseball. The Giants blew it in Denver and missed a chance to tie for first place. Mets beat the Nats to keep their winning streak going, but lost Kodai Senga. Injury list, hamstring. Wait till you see how he injured himself. Like, really? Come on. You're a professional athlete. He had to jump for that throw. Did you see the highlight yet?
No, let me go look.
He had to jump for a throw. He must have got 4 inches off the ground. And then when he came back down, there went the hammy. Like, really? You're a professional athlete.
All right, I'm watching it. I'm watching it. He's running over the first right now. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, he's down and he's out. Like, he's not getting up for like a month.
I'm sorry, what?
I know. I'm telling you.
It was like a little hop.
I know. These guys can't do anything.
It is pretty wild.
I think it is.
That would be that would be I don't even know how to compare
that to
anything.
NFL players and hockey players just have to absolutely laugh their hearts out when they see these baseball injuries sometimes and go, really? Like, that's knocking you out for a month?
See, I can almost be okay with an everyday player. They're playing every day. A pitcher?
All right, you'll give them that.
Every 5 days?
I know.
You don't do anything.
But honestly, a hockey player will do what Kodai Senga just did there 75 times every night and then come back and play 82 games.
That stuff does bother me.
That's what bothers me. All right, get me to some traffic. And then I'm kind of fired up to see what you got for the 30-mile zone. Some sports, popular culture, as it were.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Law Tigers. Starting off with a couple of problems along South 805. One of them is some debris in the left lane just past Market Street. Then before Imperial got a collision blocking the slow lane. That crash has cleared near 43rd, so speed's looking a little better there. Traveling North 5 Coastline before Delmar Heights Road. There is a stalled vehicle in the HOV lane, and you are encountering some fair traffic on top of that, very tight through the merge on up toward the fairgrounds. Collision on the San Marcos Boulevard off-ramp, westbound 78. Join Alzheimer's San Diego this June for their 9th annual motorcycle ride and after party to support families in San Diego affected by dementia. More information at alzsd.org/rides. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
If you don't know your sports gossip, can you really call yourself a sports fan? It's time to bring together sports and celebrity gossip. We call it the 30-mile zone, mainly so we don't get sued by the real company. On 97.3 The Fan.
All right, real quick, if you don't know, we have a YouTube channel here for 97.3 The Fan. And if you don't know, the YouTube channel is growing by the day. And if you don't know, we're putting up clips every single day. So if you missed the first part of the show and you want to know what Chris's 2 things for Padres success will be for the rest of the season, then go to YouTube and it's already up there so you can see it.
I'm going to go home and watch it myself. I don't remember what I said. So.
you blacked out?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to finding out what it was that I came up with.
2 things
the
Padres need to turn around for success.
Well, not just that. They're the only 2 things that matter. The rest of it is window dressing.
So go to YouTube 97.3 The Fan. You can also watch our show if you click the live button when you get to
While we're
97.3
promoting
The Fan's
stuff,
YouTube.
tomorrow Mike Schilt is on with Ben and Woods. 9 a.m., the Manager's Report, refreshed by Eco Water SoCal. Try alkaline water for just $9.95 a month. Eco Water SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925.
All right, let's start first. Roman Anthony has been just talked about.
Remind everybody
crazy.
who that is.
He's the Boston Red Sox. He's the number one prospect in all of baseball.
Yes, he's turning baseball on its ear.
And so he got his first hit the other day in front of his family.
Yeah.
Many people are commenting on one thing, though.
What is that?
Has nothing to do with his hit.
Nothing to do with Roman Anthony.
They think his sister is super hot.
She stole the spotlight.
She did. If you go and type in, if you Google her, Leah Thomas, L-I-A, or
Leah
Anthony, sorry.
Yeah.
Leah Anthony, you'll find about 1 billion articles about her.
Her name
right
is
now.
spelled L-I-A for those that really must find her. Leah Anthony. And it's funny. I read just the beginning of this. It says, everybody's talking about Roman Anthony, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But his sister, Leah Anthony, may have stolen the show during the NESN broadcast on whatever Tuesday night. It said Leah immediately generated buzz on social media because of her good looks. Factual. Well,
Factual.
It had
what,
to
the
be
good looks part or the buzz on social media?
Both. I mean, it had to be that because it's not like she said anything. She didn't do a cartwheel.
No.
She just sat there. And she says she went from 3,000 Instagram followers to 14,000.
Some part of me think that's creepy. I'm not gonna go follow her just because she's hot.
Somebody thinks it's creepy, but everyone just went to look her up.
Oh no! I
to
mean,
the
we're
show.
bringing up the story because it was all over TV. So, but I'm not going as far as to go to her Instagram and follow her. I do not care what she does on a daily basis. But anyway,
Let me ask you this:
What?
Had I told you the story, like I found this,
Yeah.
and I said, "Oh, there's a player's sister, Leah Anthony. She's now gone from 3,000 to 14,000 followers. Everybody thinks she's great." Could you have heard that story without ever looking up her picture once?
No. See, I would Google her name to see what it's about, but I'm not going to her Instagram to follow her.
No, I didn't say you had to do that.
No, I'm definitely not doing that. I think that's a little strange, but she definitely stole the show. Some of the comments online.
If anybody's wondering whether good looks give certain people advantages, I don't know that it should be that way, but it certainly is.
A couple years
There's
ago,
no reason to argue it any longer.
A couple years ago, Adley Rutschman's sister stole the show during the home run derby, and now Leah Anthony. But here's some of the comments from people.
No.
I'd like to be the first to welcome Roman Anthony's sister to Boston. Congrats to Roman Anthony's sister in the red. She deserves this. Last one. Roman Anthony gets his first hit in the show, and his sister is trending on Twitter. What a life. So
he got a hit. She was a hit.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Okay. So Yahoo Sports put up a bunch of her Instagram photos. Maybe I will go check out her Instagram profile.
Okay. All right. Enough.
I didn't see those photos until I scrolled down.
Can we move on?
Yes, we'll move on.
I didn't see those photos.
It's until I scrolled down.
This is not great.
All right. The new Pope, Chicago guy, American,
yes. White Sox fan,
came out at the Vatican wearing a White Sox hat.
Did he?
Everybody is really, really pumped up about this.
They're happy, or there's got to be a religious leader somewhere that finds this to be offensive. Just because everything has to be considered offensive in this day and age.
There is nothing offensive about this other than the fact that he is a White Sox fan.
I didn't say
the only offensive part.
I didn't say there's anything offensive. I said there's got to be somebody somewhere who thinks like the Pope should be, more interested in, being there for the rest of the
world,
the world and the Roman Church,
the Roman Anthonys,
right? Rather than worrying about what the White Sox are doing.
The White Sox are taking this and they are running with it, which they should, because the Pope might be top 10 most famous people in the world.
Top 5
most famous people in the world.
Move him up.
Well, in the stadium, Chris, the White Sox commemorated his attending Game 1 of the 2005 World Series with a graphic in the spot that he sat at. So when you walk by, you'll see this big mural of the Pope while he was at the game in 2005. So I think that's kind of hilarious. But the White Sox fans are thinking, hey, it has to turn around. If the Pope is on our side, then God's on our side, and it will turn around.
If there is such a thing as divine intervention,
this would be the closest you can get to it.
We will find
in the
out.
baseball world.
So far, the divine intervention has not yet taken hold.
Has not yet
for
taken hold.
Will Venable and company.
All right, Jay-Z is in trouble with betting.
I saw.
And
I couldn't have been happier. This is why you people. And now, look, Jay-Z can afford this. Right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure he's
a billionaire.
This is discretionary money for him.
He's a billionaire.
Yeah, but it's still a rather large wager. And, well, tell us.
He bet $1 million that the Pacers would win.
Not the Pacers.
Or no, the Thunder would win the NBA Finals after 5 games.
And 5 or fewer games.
Yes. So now
he's already done.
He's already done.
They can't possibly do that.
Lost $1 million.
You know, I think that he ought to call Brian Windhorst, and he ought to call Stephen A. Smith, and he ought to call every other reporter, dozens of whom, talking heads, radio people, newspaper article writers, who sold us a bill of goods on how great the Thunder is. Like I said, they could still be NBA champs, but do not tell me they're great. They're just not. They're good. They're not great. Sorry.
You're going to die on this hill.
I know I'm going to die on this vine.
I'm going to die on the Randy Vasquez got taken out too early hill. You're going to die on this one.
Well, I'm not dying yet. They're losing the series right now.
I'm not dying yet.
Yeah.
He says. If you love Mediterranean food, try Spiro's. For authentic Mediterranean cuisine in Coronado or La Jolla. For dining or takeout options, visit spiroscuisine.com. Also, this hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Staples. Now, remember that guy we talked about, the pitcher who pitches for the Red Sox and said he would retire before he accepted a contract from the Yankees?
Gave up a home run to Aaron Judge.
Yes.
But he won the game, I think.
Hunter Dobbins is the guy.
Okay.
Well, the New York Post put out an article trying to check in on his whole reasoning behind it, that his dad, had issues with the Yankees. Okay. Apparently, his dad never played for the Yankees at all. So,
He said his dad played for the Yankees? I didn't hear that.
Apparently, let me see. My feelings on the Yankees and all that, they're based off my personal experiences and nothing to do with growing up or family.
So he says he had a personal experience. Maybe the Yankees didn't sign his dad or something.
The whole backstory, stuff that I heard growing up and seen pictures from my dad, at the end of the day, it's just my dad and what kind of grew my love for the game. But at the end of the day, I don't go and fact check my dad or anything like that. You probably should when you make comments like this, because you know that the world is going to go and try and find a lie somewhere in your statement.
Even if you didn't lie, they're going to find a lie in your statement.
Yes.
Especially, though, if you do lie.
Yes. So New York Post went deep in this, and now he's kind of backtracking a little bit. He said it doesn't faze him at all, though, Chris. Doesn't faze him at all. My focus is on performing for the guys here in the locker room and for the fans. So this guy is quickly retreating from his statement.
He's probably becoming a little bit of a legend in Boston, along with Leah Anthony.
Both of them together are becoming legends.
There you go.
Hunter Dobbins, though, I would love to see the Red Sox trade him to the Yankees or something like that. Just to put your money where your mouth is, bro. All right, that's it for 30 miles.
You guys can put your wits where your mouth is. Little Chris versus the fans. 833-288-0973 next. Padres were idle today, as you no doubt know. They will play, though, each of the next 13 days. There will be no more idle for a while. Padres go to Arizona. First meeting of the year with the Diamondbacks. God. I wonder, well, I don't want to speak for them. If I was broadcasting, though, Padre baseball, I would try everything I could to avoid running and bumping accidentally into Bob Brenly.
Well, he's right there in the hallway. I saw him last time the Diamondbacks were in town.
Nuts, this guy.
I was in the bathroom washing my hands. Guess who walked right in?
Bobo Brenly?
He did.
Yeah, I know. I'm not a fan. Sorry, Bob. Can't go. And I have a lot of reasons on that. The do-rag comment.
I mean,
the whole other thing. I mean, the guy, please.
I think he said something about Fernando one time.
A ton of stuff. He puts his, open mouth insert foot. That's Bob Brenly's specialty. JJ Spawn's specialty is golf. And the former Aztec is the day one leader at the U.S. Open. 4 under par. He's the only guy to be that good today. 66 he shot. A couple of guys I haven't really ever heard of are 3 under par. I have heard of Brooks Koepka, though, and he's at 2 under par. That's a bit surprising to a lot of people because Koepka has been out of it for a while. John Rahm, 1 under par. It was a bad day, though, for a lot of guys. Scotty Scheffler for 1, +3 for Scheffler today. Same for Bryson DeChambeau, +4 for Rory McIlroy today. And on down the line. So, day one of the U.S. Open in Pennsylvania. Skraby, you ready for a little Chris versus the fans here?
I sure am.
I am too. Callers are ready. Let's play ball.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
I also just wanted to say that at 6:40 p.m., I'm going to be breaking down Leah Anthony's Instagram.
Oh, brother.
So, just kidding. I got a text in the break.
I have a question.
Chill, bro.
I have a question.
Chill.
Can you wait that long? I mean, I don't know.
I'm not going to go to her.
2.5 more hours.
I'm not going to go to her Instagram today.
Crazy guy.
Crazy guy. All right, let's get to the rules. You have to make it through 3 questions. Each question will get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get it wrong and Chris gets it right, you're eliminated. But if Chris gets it wrong, then you move on to the next question or you win. If you're a first-time player, let us know and you'll skip the first question. You'll get that question for free. Today, you will be playing for a couple different things, actually. The grand prize. A spa and pool getaway at Resorts World Las Vegas, home of the largest elevated pool complex on the Strip. You will receive a 2-night stay at Resorts World Las Vegas. Dine poolside at one of the 5 unique pool experiences and experience the ultimate in relaxation and wellness at Awana Spa, one of the largest co-ed spa facilities in Las Vegas. To book your summer stay, please visit rwlasvegas.com. Also, I have some tickets to give away. Not the Padres Royals tickets that we're going to give away before the end of the show, but these tickets, you need to get ready for a night of red, white, and you at KSON's All-American Summer. The party is happening Saturday, June 14th, this weekend at Front Wave Arena with Scotty McCreery, the band Perry, Kelsey Hart, and Will Mosley. Grab your tickets before they're gone. Tickets at AXS.com. So that is coming up on what's
Saturday.
Saturday. So if you want tickets, go to AXS.com. But we'll give you those tickets today if you beat Chris.
And a bit later in the program, which isn't going to be much later because we only have an hour to go, tickets to Padres Royals on June 22nd. Stick around for that possibility.
Correct. They changed their computer, Chris.
What do you mean? Change the actual computer or the way it works?
No. They had to upgrade to Windows 11 or something. And I cannot get this thing to work.
I'm glad to hear it. Do you know why?
Why?
Because what you're going through right now is why I hate upgrading ever.
But you have to upgrade.
I know, but I don't like it because I always then have to learn something that I don't know how to do.
No, it's all the same. It's just like
you
have to reset. We have to reset all your preferences.
You just said you got to learn everything new.
Okay, okay.
Admit it.
No, I didn't have to learn anything. Look, the phone screener usually is half the screen. I cannot get it to go half the screen, so I'm gonna have to really
I don't
change the way I work.
I and not a single listener is concerned about your issues.
All right, let's go to our first contestant. Let's go to Jesse. Hello, Jesse.
Hey there.
Hey
Jesse,
there.
how are you, sir?
Ready to play?
First time player.
First time player.
All
Here
right,
we
good
go.
luck to you. I think we had a first-time player win either yesterday or the day before. So good luck to you, Jesse.
Number 2.
Just like that.
Let's see. Which country hosted the 2008 Summer Olympic Games?
What? Why? That seems like a random year. Why that year? Just for the hell of it?
Yeah, because it was long enough ago. What did you say, Jesse?
2008.
Yes.
Yes. What
Just
what
for some
country
reason,
hosted that?
Skraby wants to know who hosted the Winter Games or the
No,
Summer,
Summer
games
Games
17 years ago.
South Korea.
South Korea.
That was the Winter Games, but stay there.
South Korea did the Summer Olympics.
They did the Winter Olympics,
1988, Seoul, South Korea. It's where Ben Johnson ran afoul of the law.
The Bears head coach?
No, the sprinter beat Carl Lewis and then got his medal taken away for performance-enhancing drugs, which at the time was a huge
mistake,
huge controversy. 2008, they were in Beijing. Oh,
sorry, Jesse.
Yeah, sorry. I kind of know those. I don't know why.
You made a big deal over there, and then you're like,
well,
I
like to throw people off.
Kind of know.
Well, you could have asked me like 1956, and I could have said Helsinki, and you would have.
Is Helsinki the
out.
actually true?
I don't know. It was right around there.
All right, let's go.
I used to know them all. Now I'm a little off on that.
Next contestant, Eric.
No, 56.
Hello, Eric.
Sorry, Phil. 56 was Melbourne, Australia. I missed Helsinki by one. All right. Anyway, go ahead.
Eric, ready to play?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Good luck, Eric.
Question number 1. Let's see here. Who relieved Randy Vasquez in yesterday's game?
Helsinki, Finland, 1952.
I believe
I heard Morihone. That is correct.
Well, again, I have to work with you, and I will continue to do so. You have to say who immediately relieved.
No.
Yes, you do.
No.
They had 7 guys relieved Randy Vasquez yesterday.
No.
Yes.
So you're saying the closer relieves the starter?
Was no closer yesterday.
So you're saying the guy who pitches the 9th is relieving the starter?
The way you asked the question, I could have
you're
been misinterpreted
looking
that
for
way.
problems. You're looking for problems here.
I normally don't have to look far.
All right, here we go to our next question, Eric.
Eric? Number 2.
What NBA player famously said, quote, "I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed"?
Oh, boy.
Man. Let's go Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan, good
MJ.
guess.
You got it.
That was him right there. All right, we're on to question number 3 now. So you stay right there, Eric. I'm going to hit the button, and if you get this right or Chris gets it wrong, you are qualified for the trip and those tickets to the concert this weekend. Whew, that was a lot to say. Let's see. Which Major League Baseball manager holds the all-time ejections record?
Ejected the most.
Ejected the
umpires.
most.
I'm just going to take it.
Say it again?
Lou Piniella.
Lou Piniella.
He's a good one.
Yeah.
Stay there, though.
Lou had some memorable ejections.
There's many, many names out there that this could
Yes,
be.
but I know this one. I've heard it before. Bobby Cox is the record holder, I believe. Yeah.
Sorry about that, Eric.
Sorry, Eric. That's
Made it all the way to question number 3.
It's a tough game. It's a tough game out there. You just got to hang in there.
All right.
Bobby Cox. They actually have I think on Baseball Reference, you can type that in, and they list every ejection every manager's ever had.
They also list their
right?
their challenge record too now.
Yeah, I know everything's on there, but you can see who's been ejected the most and second most and
third most.
Whatnot. Yeah.
All right, let's go to our next contestant, which will be Jack.
Hello,
Jack.
What's up, guys?
Not a lot. Good to talk with you, sir.
You ready to play?
Let's do it.
All
I
right.
think he's ready. He's ready.
Let's see. What is it called when a runner tags and scores from third on a pop fly?
Back fly.
That fly is right.
I told a great sacrifice fly story last week when you were gone, but we don't have time right now.
Okay. It's actually beneficial to me that we don't have time. Here we go. Question number 2 for Jack. We talked about the AUSL the other day, Athletes Unlimited Sports League, or Softball League.
Softball League, yeah.
Who is the commissioner of that league?
The commissioner of the AUSL, something everyone should know, Jack. I'm just kidding, by the way.
I have no idea. I'm just gonna pass.
Okay.
Passes.
Unfortunately, I think Chris knows.
It's sad because we talked about it. I believe it's Kim Ing.
Yes.
Kim Ing. Yeah, boy. I'm on a roll
Sorry
today.
about
Look
that.
out. I'm on a roll.
I'm on a reel.
I'm on fire.
I'm on a reel.
You hate when I get one right, as if that somehow should affect you.
I'm on a roll.
Should not affect
Yeah,
you.
I have
in
to
any
make
way.
more questions. That's
oh,
why.
please. You got to make them anyway.
Let's go to Steve in San Diego. Hello, Steve.
All right, Steve. Take this game down once and for all.
I'll do my best.
All right, sir. Good
here
to
we
have
go.
you with us.
Question number 1. Which position player pitched in Tuesday night's game for the Dodgers?
Kike Hernandez.
Kike is correct.
Oh, it was? I thought it was Steve in San Diego. I thought they just pulled a guy out of the stands.
Oh, well.
They may as well have.
I mean, Kike... Hold on, Steve. Kike was throwing an ephus. Do you think that's by design? Because then he threw an 85-mile-an-hour pitch later in his...
I think he wanted to just take it easy on his arm.
Okay.
Why burn them all in there?
That's true. All right, Steve, question number 2. Who is the only athlete to win 8 gold medals in a single Olympic Games?
Oh, boy. That's tough.
Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps is correct.
Got it.
Nice job. All right.
Way to be on that, Steve.
Last question. You get this right or Chris gets it wrong, and you're qualified for Las Vegas, and you will win those tickets to that concert.
But more importantly, you can say you were a champion of the game.
Chris versus the fans champion.
Although a lot of people say that. I don't know if everybody actually is.
It's like how everybody was there for Tony Gwynn's
right.
3,000
Yes.
hit, even though it happened in Montreal.
Yes, correct. Yeah, exactly.
All right, Steve, which country has won the most FIFA Women's World Cup titles?
Women's World Cup titles. Jeez.
I'm going to go with the United States.
I like
United
it, Steve.
States.
I like it.
Correct.
He got it.
Nice job.
You ran it all, Steve. Well done. Stay on the line, Skraby.
Definitely not the American men.
I used to joke. I don't joke about this anymore because women's, FIFA World Cup soccer is legit now. But 30, 40 years ago, it was kind of a fledgling thing.
Okay.
So women's soccer wasn't really on the map the way it is now. So I used to joke that, we couldn't win at men's soccer, so we just invented the Women's World Cup so that we could win something.
Okay.
It was kind of a joke. It wasn't very funny, obviously. We take a break, and then after traffic, we have more on the Gwynn and Chris program.
From the
Go to the game. We're going to give away a couple of tickets right at the end of this segment. So be ready. I'll give you a trivia question in about 5 minutes. Please don't call now because Skraby will erase and hang up on all the phone callers.
Just locked them.
If you call in ahead of time. So it's not going to matter. So wait till you get the question, then call in. I'll give it to you. First person with the correct answer, 833-288-0973. We'll go see Padres Royals. Got to tell you that it is a theme weekend. It is all Star Wars related that weekend. These tickets don't include the same thing that some of the theme tickets do, but they're tickets to the game. Right? You're going to go see the ball game. So stick around for that. And then don't forget Monday, the day after that, June 23rd, Padres versus Washington. Skraby, I thought you stole it already.
I put it back in the box.
You did. You put it back. I'm not going to take it out, but there's a Fernando Tatis Jr. bobblehead. He's got the City Connect uni, and it's a bat flip bobblehead, meaning the bat flips around.
You know what?
It's an item. I think people kind of want this one.
The Xander Bogaerts X-Wing bobblehead lights up. I got to get me that. I'm going to have to buy a theme game ticket, though.
Do they have an Xander Bogaerts bobblehead?
Yes.
Because I can see people sitting there going, oh, I bet you that one. The Fernando one, the bat swings around. The Xander one, the bat swings and misses. Hardy har.
I mean, you could say about both of them.
Hardy har har.
But the X-Wing lights up.
Really?
That one. Yeah.
I used to think bobbleheads were just kind of really just why. But now they've gotten so good that they're honestly are kind of worth having now.
We have one of Sister Jean in here.
Yeah, I know, the old Loyola not Loyola Marymount, Loyola Chicago fan.
We got a Brian Dutcher in here. I didn't even know Brian Dutcher had bobbleheads.
He does. There he is.
You know, I have put together quite the collection of bobbleheads.
And they're home?
Yes, they're
Take a
home.
picture. I want to just see the collection.
They're not even out of their thing. It's in a box.
Why don't you display them?
Because I don't really have a place to display them right now.
You didn't have bobblehead
but
displaying room?
One day I will have my bobbleheads up somewhere. By the way,
All right,
there's
so
a fire.
Let me ask you this real quick. Oh, wait, what?
There's a fire up in San Elijo right now.
Elijo, where is that?
It's like
I can't think.
It's on the way, like in between San Marcos and Encinitas, kind of.
Oh, so be careful.
I just got a picture from someone that's near us that showed me the fire.
It's
40-acre fire.
Careful, everybody up there.
I might need to leave to go take care of my dogs because
that's close enough to you.
Not yet. It's getting there. It's getting there. But I've asked my friend to.
Why don't you just leave now? I mean,
no. Because
mess around with this.
No, because it's not I guess the wind is blowing in the other direction. I have a friend that lives near us, and he's telling me he will go get the dogs. He said he'll go get the dogs if I need him to.
I don't like this.
I don't like it either, but it's a smallish fire, San Elijo. Hopefully everybody's okay.
All right, now I have to carry on, and I'm concerned about the fate of Lucky now.
You're telling me.
All right.
No, I have a friend that's going to go pick him up if anything gets bad.
You've got some. You got things.
The LA wildfires really scarred me with the animal thing because so many people lost their animals. Not to death, but just lost them.
No, lost them. Couldn't find them. Yeah, right.
Scarred me.
Orioles, Tigers, nothing yet. They've played 3 innings in Baltimore. No score. You know who's really good now for the Tigers?
Kerry Carpenter.
Yeah, he's good. But the guy that we didn't really expect to be all that
Torkelson?
Catcher Dylan Dingler.
I love his name.
Right. We all do. But I remember when he played against the Padres, and we're thinking, who is this guy? Dylan Dingler. Well, he's got 28 RBIs. Not bad for a catcher. 284 and a 757 OPS. Some people are talking about Dylan Dingler for the American League All-Star team.
Why not?
I absolutely.
And they're going to go back to wearing their own uniforms this year, so
which is will actually get me to watch some of the All-Star game.
Last year's uniforms were so bad.
Well, how long has it been? 3-4 years where they've worn the the made for television uniforms that are just pathetic.
I mean, they did one a couple years ago where everything was in gold when they were in LA.
They were all bad. All 3 years or 4 years that they did that. Thank goodness they're going back to wearing their own uniforms this year. Finally, one decision, one and only one, not driven by money. Because they were making some money, I imagine, on selling those All-Star uniforms.
I think they probably lost money, which is why they went back to the other ones.
Oh, is that the old, is that why, the penny? Like, we're getting rid of the penny because it actually costs more to make a penny than a penny?
Which I understand why we're getting rid of the penny, but it makes me a little sad. Does it make you sad? Are you a change guy? You're old.
I leave almost all change right there on the counter for the next person.
That is
almost every
weird.
Time. You think?
Do you realize if you got 85 cents in change, if you just save that every day? When my grandpa passed away a couple years ago or a year and a half ago, he gave me his coin, not even a collection. It was just a coin storage. Okay. And it was about, I'm not kidding, Chris, about 60 or 70 pounds of coins. And I've been rolling those babies ever since.
You're still doing it?
Yes. Because I'm looking for rare coins and things like that too. But there is so much money to be made in spare change.
Well, next time you're behind me at 7-Eleven, you may be the one that benefits.
Apparently Dingler just hit a homer.
He did. How about that? What timing?
Come on down to San Diego. We'll make you hit home runs.
Derek Dingler.
I keep wanting to say Dirk Dingler,
we all
but that's not it.
I know everybody does, and that's why his name stands out. His parents didn't exactly do him a solid.
I think they knew what they were doing.
Maybe so. All right, here's your question for Royals Padres tickets, June 22nd. Again, don't dial in until you hear the question. And by the way, when you dial in, Skraby will go, "What's the answer?" Yes. You give the answer. Do not come on and say, what was the question? Because you will get hung up on.
It's fair rules for everybody.
Right. Same for everybody. Here's the question. This left-hander won 166 games in a Royal uniform. more than any Kansas City pitcher ever. Who is it? First person with the correct answer. Probably get everybody going to rush to look it up because I don't know anyone's going to know it off the top of their head. But whoever gets it right first, we'll go to see the Padres and Royals on June 22nd. You call in while we take a break on Gwynn and Chris.
Ben and Wood.
Yeah. All-time leading winner for the Kansas City Royals. Christian knew that, or at least he looked it up faster than the rest of you. And so he'll go see Paul Splittorff's old team, the Royals, take on the Padres on June 22nd. Paul Splittorff, pretty good pitcher, Skraby. 166 career wins to lead all Royals. And a 15-year career, all with Kansas City. And he had a 120-win season back in 1973. Left-hander, pitched 17 career shutouts. I mean, look, everybody who pitched then had some shutouts. Now, if a guy gets a shutout, it leads off SportsCenter pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Stanley Cup game number 4 tonight. Florida hosting Edmonton. Florida leads 2-1. And one last thing on J.J. Spawn before we get to the Big Five. Spawn, who leads the U.S. Open, San Diego State. Did you know, Scrabe, he was a walk-on at San Diego State. Wasn't even recruited to play golf. Played at San Diego State. It was an all Mountain West selection 2010, 11, and then Player of the Year in 2012. Not bad, though, for a walk-on. Must have caught fire once he got to San Diego State. This is his first ever, no, I beg your pardon, second ever U.S. Open. He was cut in the 2021 U.S. Open. He's never played in the British Open, or the Open.
The Open Championship.
Yes. And the highest he's ever finished in any major, tied for 23rd at the Masters, 2022.
That's how he... That's a good finish for him because then it qualified him for other stuff.
Gotcha. But my point being, other than, he's San Diego State, so we're kind of behind that. He is largely a journeyman in the sport of golf, right? I mean, he's not on anybody's radar.
Well, if you're not playing consistent majors, you're definitely a journeyman.
But good for him.
You're trying to find your way.
He shot a bogey-free round today, 66.
I don't know how you do that.
I don't either. And according to this, it's only the 8th bogey-free round ever, a professional round at this golf course in Oakmont, Pennsylvania.
That's why I'm saying
nobody can do what he did today.
That's why I'm saying it's so impressive because Oakmont has thick rough, narrow fairways, tough greens. Like not bogeying is pretty incredible.
Yep, he didn't bogey today. So good for JJ. Hopefully he'll stay there. I'd love to see like the whole weekend. All these other guys are going to come up and struggle right now. Scheffler, Bryson, they'll all make their run. But I hope Spawn can stay there. All right, let's get one last check of traffic before Skraby hits us with today's Big Five.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Jack in the Box. Turning out to be a busy afternoon, guys. We've got a brush fire burning near a neighborhood in Carlsbad. This is centered around Corte Claro and Paseo Encino. 40 acres have burned so far, and there have been some evacuations. We'll keep you posted on that. Meanwhile, southbound 163 has just cleared an accident near Mesa College. We still have this crash south 805 before the 163, moving that over to the right shoulder, and a crash has cleared south 805 near Imperial. Eastbound 8 near the 805, accident involving a couple vehicles. Tow truck is helping to move that out of lanes. Eastbound 54 just before Rayo Drive, 2-vehicle accident, one to the center divide, one over to the right shoulder. Get so much more with the new T-Pain Munchie Meal at Jack in the Box, including your choice of burger or chicken tater melt, plus curly fries, a taco, drink, and new stuffed cookie. Auto-tune not included. And Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right. Man, this show has flown by, Chris.
Well, you know, I'm pretty.
When you're having fun,
pretty interesting to listen to over here.
Okay. All right, let's get into it.
Number 5.
Now, this is a tongue-in-cheek question, Chris. I just want everybody to know that before they take me serious. But I have received DMs. I've seen on the YouTube chat. I've seen on Twitter. It's time to fire a coach for the Padres.
Wait,
because it's time to fire a coach for the Padres.
Time to fire a coach for the Padres.
Yeah.
Okay.
This team is not playing where they should be, according to some.
Okay.
And this is not me. I'm just removing myself from the situation. Fans want to fire Mike Schilt because he can't put a lineup together.
We're firing Mike Schilt.
Fans want to fire the hitting coach because they're going through a little bit of a rut.
Just Mike Schilt.
Fans have not wanted to fire Ruben Niebla, even though
Ruben will survive.
Yes, Ruben will survive.
Okay.
Now, which coach do you think they should fire, Chris?
I'm not going to distinguish this with a response.
I thought you were going to go in that direction.
I don't see any reason to fire any coach.
I don't either. I don't get the notion, and this happens every single year. I don't get the notion of this team is going through a rough patch. Let's fire the hitting coach. What is that going to do? I don't think it does anything. If anything, it makes everybody more nervous because now everybody's on edge.
Let's just say this. One of the things that I think has been very successful for the Padres and really was something we talked about in April was the fact that they kept the same coaches around this year.
Yes.
The consistency in the organization. Everybody said that was really smart. That was good. Okay, well, if it was good then, it's still good now.
Yes. Yes.
Don't fire any coach.
At the end of the year,
no.
They win 60 games,
yet.
then we could talk about it.
We're not there.
But we're not even close to being there yet. So please, people, stop firing people just because.
Well, don't tell Skraby you want to fire them. Keep it to yourself.
It's not going to happen. They want to fire Mike Schilt.
I know they do.
I don't know why.
It's crazy.
Number 4.
All right, this one's kind of sad, Chris, but a current Major League pitcher was named in court documents as being someone who provided Tyler Skaggs, Angels pitcher who died of an accidental overdose in 2019.
Yeah, that was bad.
Skaggs' former agent Ryan Hamill said in a deposition that Skaggs told him he was using pain pills containing oxycodone, and they were provided by Cincinnati Reds left-hander Wade Miley. They had played together.
Oh, wow. Wade Miley is still pitching.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Miley is not facing criminal charges, and it's not the first time his name has come up in relation to Skaggs' death. During the sentencing phase of Kay's case, which is the Eric Kay was the former publicist. Prosecutors used a recording of conversation between Kay and his mother in which Kay said Miley was one of Skaggs' drug suppliers. Now, if you go into it a little bit more, they had text messages and all this other stuff. So this seems like the Angels clubhouse was like it was widely known that these pills were there.
It was problematic, according to a lot of people.
Very problematic. Skaggs was buying pills off of other guys because that's how bad his addiction was getting. My question for you, Chris, or I guess I'm up first. Do the Reds need to get rid of Wade Miley? I thought about this a lot.
You did. And you, I think, are, a little closer to this type of situation than many.
I've thought about this a lot. And I don't think you fire him. I don't think you get rid of him because he's not facing criminal charges, although it's not a great look for your team. And it's not a great look for your organization now that his name is on every website, sports website out there. Not
as
good.
A drug supplier to somebody who died.
Now, supplier seems like a very, very strong word. It sounds to me like Wade Miley would sell pills to Tyler Skaggs, out of his own collection.
Okay.
So it'd be like, hey, I need 2 pills. I'll pay $40 for them, type of thing. I don't think Wade Miley was going and getting everything for Tyler Skaggs. Do the Reds need to DFA him? No. But this is not a good look, and I wouldn't be surprised if I saw something happen with Wade Miley and the Reds roster. I don't want to punish a guy for doing what millions of other people do, but if your name is named in a death, then there's a little bit more seriousness to this case, to this story for me. Chris?
Yeah. In a perfect world, you would just say, hey, Wade, we're going to move on. But that's just not how these things seem to ever go. And I also think that, since Wade Miley is not charged
he has not
officially
been
with anything, I don't think the Reds have a leg to stand on at all.
Because you're right.
Regardless of what
you could say, it's a bad
like,
but you could say it goes against team values, I guess. But
what goes against team values? He hasn't been
being a guy who
anything.
has in the past been involved with drugs and a death.
Do we know this? I mean, is this?
They're saying that Wade Miley was giving him.
This is what somebody claims, right?
No, these are text messages between Skaggs and Miley. And
look, nothing's gonna happen. So
I get it.
Sorry.
You don't need to be sorry, Chris. It's just really sad all the way around.
The
former publicist, I believe his name is Eric Kay, was sentenced to 22 years in prison for his role in this whole thing.
One of the things Wade Miley, not good.
Yeah.
But I still put 99% of the blame on the person who took the stuff and killed themselves. I can't always blame the supplier.
No, I
sometimes
agree.
I have to blame the person who they supplied it to.
When I was a drinker and a user of things, it was on me. I knew what I was doing. I knew it was dangerous, and I did it anyway because I didn't care. And that's not how it is anymore, obviously. But you're right. If something would have happened to me, I would hope my family would not try to go after everyone who, discussed drugs with me or whatever.
Yeah, but they would.
I don't know that my family would. I don't know. But I understand why the family of Tyler Skaggs is doing this, because they don't really have resolution in this.
Well, they want some closure. That's what they'll say.
All right.
Number 3.
Cincinnati Bengals rookie defensive end Shamar Stewart left Cincinnati's mandatory minicamp today amid a contract dispute, Chris.
Never heard of that happening before.
Not for really. In the new rookie wage scale, we don't usually hear about this.
You don't have a lot to...
Stewart, the Bengals' first-round draft selection, has not participated in any of the team's offseason workouts, according to a source. The dispute is centered around interpretation of language in the contract that could affect guaranteed money. So, Chris, if you're the Bengals, would you prove a point and let them hold out?
Again, it's almost like the last question. I always want to prove my point and win and tell this young person, be happy that you're here and just take what we give you. But it just doesn't work that way. And part of what I would think is I invested, my pick in this player, be beneficial to me to have the player in uniform performing for me. So I have to say that I would at least listen to it. I would probably tell them no, but I would try to work something out, because if I prove my point and the player completely walks and leaves and I get nothing, then we both lost.
Yeah.
So that's my only thing on that. I know what you're saying, though.
We've been talking about this off the air for a couple of weeks now, and it's all about how I'm really getting tired of NFL players holding out because someone else made more money than them. Like, I want people to uphold their part of the contract. They signed the contract. They said, this is okay with me if I get paid this amount of money in this year. Right. I don't know that we have to keep doing this. And the teams, I want the players to make money, but there's something for me about just completely disregarding a contract that you signed that apparently was okay with you, but now all of a sudden it's not because someone's making more money than you. Go out there, prove that you're worth the money, and you'll get it in your next contract. I'm tired of this. I'm really tired of this. This guy has not played a down, Chris, in the NFL. and he's already angry about something in his contract.
I know. So make your point as owner of the Bengals and tell them no, get lost.
I will.
And then your team's not going to go anywhere. This is the player does still hold some cards here, even though you don't want them to.
I get it.
I know you do.
Number 2.
According to Andrew Marchand of The Athletic, he is quoting several sources with several different stories as Pat McAfee has shared a bunch of, on his social media feed, the hashtag up to something season, which has historically meant there are rumblings behind the scenes with the Pat McAfee show. One of the sources said that ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter has been banned from the program in recent months, stemming from an incident during an ESPN2 broadcast free agency special on March 12th. According to Marchand, McAfee wanted Schefter to be a part of his program on the day of the new league year beginning. However, Schefter was reportedly not able to show up for the program, and as a result, this reportedly led to Schefter's banishment from the show. Nevertheless, Ty Schmidt, who is a contributor to McAfee's program, has remained in his role at the Adam Schefter podcast, and it does look like Adam Schefter is now going to be back on the Pat McAfee show. So I'm up first. Is Pat McAfee getting too big for his britches? Recently I've been watching Pat McAfee, and I think that he does a really good job of entertaining. I do think he's getting too big for his britches. If true that Adam Schefter could not be on the show and then you ban him from the show, that's a little bit of an ego trip right there. Like, get over yourself, Pat McAfee, if that's the real truth. But Pat McAfee is in danger of becoming a victim of his massive success, because I think that he really thinks he's a very important human being. And I think that he really thinks that people will do whatever he wants. And when they don't, he gets mad. So, yes, I think he's too big for his britches.
What number
Chris?
was this?
2.
And I got to answer quickly. Could not agree more with you. In fact, I've never agreed more with you.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a Pat McAfee fan for the reasons you just said, basically.
Okay.
Number 1.
Patrick Reed, live golfer Patrick Reed, made only the 4th double eagle since the U.S. Open started keeping records some 4 decades ago, which is kind of crazy. They just started keeping records 40 years ago. Dunking in his second shot from 286 yards on the par 5 4th hole at Oakmont. The so-called albatross is considered the rarest shot in golf. So he made a 2 on a par 5. And with only a few hundred made per year around the world, compared with apparently every year there's 30,000 holes in one. I've never had the pleasure of a hole in one. So, Chris, you're up first. Would you rather have a hole in one or an albatross?
Hole in one.
Why?
Because 99% of the people I tell to I got an albatross would go, oh, what's that? Hole in one, everybody can define that and take in celebration with me. I didn't get an albatross, but I made a similar shot, holing out from 140 or so yards at one time, but it wasn't. It was for eagle. Wasn't
still. I mean, you hold out.
It was good, but yeah, no. Hole in one is universally understood, so I want that.
All right, that's it.
Oh, I don't know anybody.
What do I want? I want a hole in one.
Nobody has albatross on their bucket list.
I kind of do.
Nobody.
A 2 on a par 5, you got -3 and 1 hole. That would be kind of cool. But a hole in one is something that you will definitely remember forever and tell everybody about forever.
Padres Roundtable, an hour of commercial-free Padre talk is up next for you. Then the Skraby Chronicles after that. So settle in. We got a lot of fun stuff still ahead. Gwynn and Chris is back tomorrow at 2 on 97.3 The Fan.
The Fans Padres.
And he is always here.
Okay.
Everything going on with the
Woods at the end.
I didn't know these were optional.
Pizza. And now, here's your host, Ben Higgins.
Welcome in. It is time once again for our San Diego Roundtable Pizza 97.3 The Fan Padres Roundtable. And we're playing the Eliminator because we've lost a chair and a person today. We're down to 5. It's a long season. You know what? It's a grind. Sometimes guys got to go on the IL. And this week we've got Stephen Woods at the end.
I didn't know these were optional. I had no idea.
Paul Reindl is sitting next to him. Hello, Paulie.
They're actually not.
Braden Soprano, who's been out of the country for the last couple of weeks, returns. Hello, Braden.
Hello, back from the IL.
And Chris Ello, always our most consistent. He is always here.
Don't count on that.
And Woods, you've always been here too.
Pretty much.
I've missed more than you have.
Yeah.
You've missed one too?
I missed one.
All right, let's get this out of the way quickly because I don't want to spend a ton of time on just yesterday's game in particular. Was it okay that Manny swung 3-0 yesterday with the bases loaded? Woods?
Great idea. Not his pitch.
Paulie, okay that Manny swung 3-0?
Yes.
Braden, okay that Manny swung 3-0?
I don't really think so, but no.
All right, Chris, okay that Manny swung 3-0?
Who else has been driving in runs?
That's what I think too. It was a pitch to hit. He's the guy.
But Woodsy's right. He didn't get the right strike.
Not the one he wanted.
No, if he had it to do again, he'd wait for a little better strike.
If he popped out to left or something, do you feel a little bit better about it? Is it because it was a ground ball in the hole?
No, it was because he hit a line. If he hit a screamer to the right fielder on that pitch away, I'm like, all right,
he chose the wrong pitch.
Just chose the wrong pitch.
It's supposed to be his perfect.
It's
not his perfect.
My argument, Braden, is that a walk isn't a bad result for the Dodgers.
Yeah.
They still have the lead.
I don't think that they would have minded walking him.
They got a lefty-lefty matchup coming up. Manny's got to find a pitch to hit and do some damage. He's the one guy who can. Which pitch coming out of 3-0, 3-1, or 3-2 is he going to get the best pitch to hit? Probably 3-0. So I like
if your offense has to rely on one individual.
That's
you're not
problem.
That's
you
a
just
major
said the problem.
Well, then the reality is you're not supposed to be winning that game anyway.
We have 57 more minutes to try to figure out how to change.
But I'm just saying in general, if your entire offense just relies on one person, then that person swinging out of his shoes on a 3-0 pitch that might not be his pitch is going to be catastrophic.
Well, it's relying on one person right now.
Yes,
because nobody else is doing the job. You know,
it's
they
really
don't
it's quite surprising to me that they are honestly still where they are.
It's amazing.
Some of the things that are going on.
I know
with this lineup and offense, and then you have 3 pitchers out.
Yeah,
and Jason Adams struck a little. You know, it really is quite remarkable.
It is.
They're winning as many as they.
The only thing I'm saying about this is at the beginning of the year, their whole kind of pass the baton offense was great because it was working. But if at some point it doesn't start to work, you can't panic and then go away from what your offensive philosophy is. So from that perspective, swinging 3-0 when you got a guy up, you got to trust the guy behind you. And if you don't trust the guy behind you, you're not going to be good offensively in baseball.
All right, let's close the door on yesterday's game in particular and look at more broader picture issues for the San Diego Padres over this next hour. And you know, the series loss to the Dodgers was their first loss series in 3 weeks. You have to go all the way back to getting swept by the Blue Jays the last time the Padres actually lost a series. So things aren't exactly dire at the moment. And we don't want to move the goalposts either because 13 days ago, they started a stretch of 26 games in 27 days. And I believe we all said, hey, you got to tread water. You got to find a way not to lose a bunch of ground. They've gone 7-6 through those first 13 games of this stretch with another 13 games coming. So, Woods, what is your evaluation of how the team has started this really brutal stretch of schedule here in June?
Well, I think you just said it, man. Moving the goalposts. You can't do it. You had some really winnable games in there that you lost. You had some very losable games in there that you won. 7-6. When you put it like that, you know, no problem. It's exactly what we said they needed to do. They're doing it. Again, as Chris just pointed out, I'm sure we'll talk about more. Smoke, mirrors, whatever you want to call it, luck, whatever. Also, there's a lot of skill and a lot of heart and a lot of grit involved in winning 7 out of 13 games when all those things are going so poorly.
Chris, how have the Padres handled these first 13 games of this stretch?
They've taken advantage of the fortune that they have produced for themselves. I don't know that made any sense, but other than the game the Dodgers, cashed in halfway through the game, hadn't it been 10 consecutive wins by 1 or 2 runs? It's finding a way. This is actually what good teams do. It just seems really difficult for us to look at it right now because you'd like to see them blowing everybody out and, winning a little more comfortably and everybody hitting. This is what you have to do to survive a season. So I actually don't feel that bad about it.
Paulie, do Giants fans complain that they've won 7 in a row, but 6 of them were by 1 run, and 2 of them had to be comebacks against the Rockies?
Yes, they do, actually. If you want to know the truth. Just so you know, they
Bob Melvin's on the hot seat.
They absolutely are complaining online, just so you know.
I mean, they're similar to how I felt watching Padres baseball for the last, couple of weeks, where it's like, hey, they're getting mostly good results, and they're in just about every single game. But it's like shedding years off my life watching them. Like, I would imagine it's probably similar with Giants.
Braden, I know we live in a global world, so I imagine you were able to keep tabs and maybe even watch a lot of the games. But getting away maybe gives you kind of a fresh perspective. As you come back, do you see the same team, a different team than the one that you saw when you left a couple of weeks ago?
The funniest thing is I got to watch a couple of the day games start at like 10 o'clock at night, which is kind of like
I was just going to ask, when do you get to watch the game?
So a couple of those I got to watch a little bit when I got home. I mean, a lot of the games were played at like 2 or 3 in the morning, which I wasn't able to watch. But the funniest part was waking up the next day to 300 text messages every day and watching my buddies live react to the game.
It's crazy.
And when you look at it outside, it's so because usually when the game's going on, I'm with them, emotionally living and dying with every pitch.
Sure.
I look at the whole text thread. It's like, this guy's a tired act. He sucks. We got to get rid of this guy. And then later he wins the game for the team or whatever. And it's just like, you guys are hilarious watching the live reaction, but that's the emotional aspect of the fan. In terms of like watching this team, I mean, they're kind of like the same team. I mean, we said it before at the beginning of the year, when some asset of the team, is not, quote, pulling their weight, another facet of the team does a good job taking it. I think the bullpen did a great job with that over 2 weeks that I was gone, and Manny Machado basically single-handedly carrying the team for those 2 weeks. But Chris said it, this is like the one-run games. It's like 2023. They were losing all of those games, and now they're winning some of them. So good teams find a way to win. When you look at this stretch, this is one of 2 very difficult stretches in terms of opponents. If you go through it about 500, you're in a good spot. You're just trying to tread water through the season.
Legit could have been 1-12.
Yes.
Well, they had the blowout, but legitimately 1-12.
Do we all do that? I guess I just kind of had that revelation because whenever a Padres game is played, usually Paulie, Woods, me, maybe Adam are on a thread where we're constantly commenting through the game.
This guy sucks.
Braden obviously has one with his friends. Chris, do you ever text anyone during Padres games, or are you just kind of watching
How do
yourself?
you do that?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I don't. Well, here's why. And Skraby would back this up. I watched them all on DVR later that night. So I cannot live text because I don't watch live very often.
You should actually start texting Ben late at night when you're
right
DVR.
as it's coming down. Ben, did you just see that play in the 3rd inning?
That's fine.
The funniest thing about that was like what I would read I would literally go up. It would be like play by play in the text. And I'd be like, oh, my God, we must got our ass kicked.
Yeah.
And I look at the score, we lost by 1.
Yeah.
And I just came
one
up
by
short.
one.
Or 1
What
by
the hell
1.
is Tyler Wade doing on this team? And then base clear.
Exactly. Exactly. That's how it was every time. It was hilarious.
I know one of the busiest text threads this week involved the game that the Dodgers, punted away. Dave Roberts just letting Matt Sauer wear it for 111 pitches and then using Kike Hernandez for 2 1/3 innings. We talked a lot on our show about how kind of making a mockery of the game. And if the baseball gods truly existed, they would not have let the Dodgers win the last game of the series. But Chris, I mean, do the ends justify the means? The Dodgers got what they wanted, a series victory with a bullpen day in 2 close games. Does that make it okay what Dave Roberts did to his own team in the middle game of the series?
Couple things. First of all, the fact that they were thinking ahead like that makes me feel like they thought this series was important. Maybe they ought to tell their catcher about that, Will Smith, who doesn't think these games mean anything. Secondly, what they did was fine under the current rules of the game. And baseball already kind of recognizes the mockery that is being made. And they put the rule in, I think, just last year that you at least have to be behind by 8 runs now before you bring us. They're going to have to change it again and make it be at least the 8th inning. I think bringing a field, a position player in the 6th inning is overdoing the mockery situation. Yes. So I think baseball will see that and change it.
Like, why does only one team get to save their arms? Like, we still had to throw pitchers out there in that blowout game. Why couldn't we just throw Tyler Wade out there and against Kike Hernandez on the mound and just try to race to the finish line? You know what I mean? We still had to put our guys in there. No.
Well, you can see now after yesterday's performance why Dave Roberts did not want to throw Michael Kopech. That actually would have been a perfect lane for Michael Kopech coming back off an injury. He was saving Michael Kopech for a bigger game the next day. Michael Kopech was terrible. We let him off the hook. He was horrible. And what better time to pitch Michael Kopech than in that game to let him get loose, get some work. But Dave Roberts, he got cute and it worked out for him. He gets cute a lot and it works out for him a lot.
You know why it works? You know why it works out for him? He's got the best players.
Those
guys tend to make managers look smart.
Correct.
Right.
Teoscar finding it and Conforto finding it. It's tough.
You're a really good coach and you got really good players.
Brett, I think one of the hardest things for us to reconcile as fans is that we all believe that the best path to success is to try your hardest for all 162 games every moment, when the reality is that conserving and strategizing and picking your spots may be a better path to success than simply going all out all of the time.
And that's and it's hard for us to say that on the radio sometimes because fans go like, they want to win every single game. But like the reality is these players and these organizations understand they're not going to win every single game. And they know that you're not going to be able to make it 162-0. And there's a lot of games in there where you're not feeling right. And it's kind of a punt. Let's get them tomorrow. That's kind of the baseball philosophy. From the standpoint of like winning and losing, what Dave Roberts did, makes a lot of strategic sense. Or I'm kind of upset about it is from the entertainment side of Major League Baseball. I mean, I was at the game. I thought that was I thought the last 4 innings was a joke to Major League Baseball.
Yeah. I'm surprised you stayed. Did you stay?
My brother. My brother had my parents' season tickets. I went with a friend. He was my ride. He wanted to enjoy the game. He doesn't get to go to games very often because he's working a lot, and he had an opportunity to go to a game. And the last 4 innings were a game was basically the Poway Sportsplex, watching grown men play underhand softball. Yeah. And it's the
Don't kid yourself. Those pitches can be tough to hit. I am proof of that.
but I think it sets about. I think you're getting into if this trend continues. And again, strategically, I think it's obviously it's smart for the Dodgers in that sense. But if more teams continue to do this, are you going to get a sense of load management in Major League Baseball like you get in the NBA? Like, why do people love sports? They love watching the best athletes in the world compete at the highest level. That's why all-star games are a joke, because they're not competing at a high level. So I think it sets a bad precedent for Major League Baseball from the entertainment standpoint. But if we're talking about just trying to win games, winning and losing, I have no problem with Dave Roberts doing that. From a perspective of protecting the game and honoring the game, I think it was kind of Bush League what they did on Tuesday.
You're listening to our 97.3 The Fan Padres Roundtable. It is presented commercial-free by San Diego Roundtable Pizza. It really is pizza royalty.
Did you strike out last night or something?
No, I was 3 for 3 last night.
Good.
That's why I brought it up.
There we go.
I hit good last night.
I think most of us remember the 2010s. They were not particularly kind to the San Diego Padres.
No, those were not the
aughts. The aughts were good, but
the aughts and then
from 2000,
let's say 11, 2010 was kind of
to
fun.
2018, 2019, pretty rough decade for the San Diego Padres. And when you went to Petco Park during that decade, well, it didn't matter who they were facing. The Cubs, the Giants,
the Mets.
There were always tons of fans from every opposing team came to Petco Park, and usually, at least if not outnumbered Padres fans, it came close. And when the Dodgers came, it wasn't close. There were more Dodgers fans than Padres fans. That changed. What did we say in the 2010s? Well, put a winning team on the field, and it will change. And it absolutely did. And now Petco Park is packed every single night with San Diego Padres fans, 29 sellouts in 33 games so far this year. But yesterday in particular was probably one of the most heavily attended visiting crowd games we have seen since those 2010s. I want to ask the panel, do you have a problem with that? Is there anything else the Padres should be doing? Is there anything that Padres fans should be encouraged to do to not let that happen when Dodger fans want to try to invade their ballpark? Braden?
Well, I think this is a situation where, and we like to say some fan bases are better than others and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, a lot of fan bases are very much bandwagoner fan bases. And what winning a World Series has done for the Dodger fans is it has emboldened them even more than they already were. Let's take a look at 2023 when the Padres were playing the Dodgers throughout the season. Those crowds were a lot more Padres-centric because what happened in the end of 2022? The Padres knocked the Dodgers out of the playoffs. All of a sudden, the big bad Dodger fans didn't want to deal with Padres fans talking smack to them at the ballpark on the road, and therefore they weren't as inclined to go to games. When you see opposing teams' fans on the road, most of the time it's for teams that are very good where they know that their team is going to win. If you're a Padres fan, and we're seeing a lot more Padres fans on the road, I am more inclined to go to games knowing that the Padres are going to win. I went to a couple games on the road during those 2010s in which, I went to a couple Rangers-Padres games, and the Rangers weren't very good either, but just the relentless smack talk that you would get from the opposing fans were utterly ridiculous. And I don't think a lot of people really want to enjoy that. So for me, if you want Dodger fans to stop showing up, you have to continually beat them on a continuous basis in order for that to potentially happen, especially at the height that they currently are at. I don't want to blame Padres fans for selling tickets. I don't want any of that stuff. Sometimes when your team is really, really good, the fans are going to come and support said team.
I think there's a valid point there, Woods. As long as the Dodgers are good, and they have been for a while, they always are going to have more fans, probably than other than the Yankees, any other team in baseball. Los Angeles is huge. I mean, they're never going to stop having the most fans on the West Coast, no matter how good the Padres are. Could win 3 straight World Series. The Dodgers are going to have more fans than Padres fans. Is it simply a numbers game? I mean, they can't get into their own ballpark sometimes. They like our ballpark better than theirs. So they're always going to come down here, and there's not much we can do about it.
Yeah, I mean, I learned my lesson a few years ago. You got 5 guys up here, 5 media passes. We can go to any game we want. We can go sit on Manny Machado's lap if we want in the clubhouse before the game. It's frowned upon, but not illegal. I found out. So
don't eat the snacks down there either.
Yeah, don't touch any of it, bro. Don't help yourself to water. All right, just stand there. So no, there is a thing of I don't want this. I was there yesterday. It was a day game. We're super rowdy. So it was chill. I also had really good seats down close, and but there was a section I walked by and I went, oh my God, imagine being smack dab in the middle of that. You don't know what you're going to get. So I think there is a part where they're like, hey, if I can make half my season tickets back right now in June, I'll do it. Obviously, playoffs and things like that are different. Don't do it then. Sell it to a Padres fan,
And they haven't. And the Padres have done a good job against the Dodgers.
Great job
in the postseason.
But there is what does it say about your fan base that a team is like, I'd rather not deal with you guys tonight. I just don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with it. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like being yelled at and whatever. So I don't, yesterday I didn't care. I did see there was a very large Japanese contingent in our area there to watch Shohei. Look, man, at the end of the day, I'm a baseball fan. I was 20 feet from Shohei Ohtani, and I went, my God, he's an avatar. And my son, who loves baseball more than anybody, was like, geez, Dad, he is huge. And I go, yeah, man, take it in. You are seeing one of the best to ever do it. We hope he goes 0 for 4. But, it is there's a part of that. I got great joy. I was surrounded, Dodger fans behind me, little kids, and a couple in front of me that were stoked to see him, for the first time. And they were like, Dad, it's Shohei. And I was like, all right, you sons of guns. It was, it was a sweet moment, but I can understand. I can understand not wanting to go to those games sometimes. They do get a little bit rowdy.
The Ohtani factor is probably a huge thing.
It's massive. Yeah, 100%.
Paulie, is there anything the Padres as an organization should be doing differently, or is it simply, hey, if you want, no, I mean, should they
just beating them?
Should they be happy? Hey, if opposing teams' fans want to fill our coffers and come by our concessions and our tickets. Why would we ever turn our nose at that? That's fantastic. That's winning at the game and the business
They do feel
of
that
baseball.
way. I promise you.
Yeah,
At
they
least
do.
a little bit. They do feel that way. Like, I don't really care who sits there as long as they're buying
Do we
stuff.
care who listens? If they hate us, if they love us, I don't care.
true.
I'm glad you're listening.
There's a little bit of truth to that. Honestly, I thought the biggest thing for me, because Wednesday's game felt differently when they showed the crowd versus Monday and Tuesday. And I texted you guys and I said, look, I realize I'm texting one of you who is at this game with your son. I hope you're having a great time. 110 games suck.
With the Dodgers, it does. You need the lights.
I need the lights. Why was that game not later in the day? It felt totally different for Monday and Tuesday night, and I think the time had something to do with that. I looked at the schedules. The Padres are off today. They're going to Arizona. That's a 40-minute flight. They could have absolutely left. They could leave Friday morning, but they absolutely could have left today. The Dodgers are off today, and they're going up to San Francisco.
That's a good idea.
I go, why the hell was that game a 1:10 start? I know it's a getaway day, but both those teams have off days and very short flights. Make that at least a 5:40 start, if not a 6:40 start. I thought that had a huge part in that.
Aren't the Angels getting a lot of flack for doing that?
Yep.
I mean, the players hate that, don't they?
And it's still 45,481 or something showed up for a Wednesday middle of the week game. Now, Chris, it's not football. The crowd screaming during an offensive team series.
Right.
You can actually have an impact at a football game. It's baseball, and when the crowd's 50-50, you don't have no less chance to win or more chance to win. Should it really even matter to baseball fans other than your own ego as fans? Like, I want us to look like we're better fans than their fans. It doesn't matter to the team or the game that much, right?
Yeah, I think it's got to happen organically, at least during the regular season. If you want to take some steps in the playoffs to try to ensure you have more of your fans there, I don't even know that the Padres actually have to do that, because last year proved to me that we can keep Dodger fans out of the stadium. I don't remember very many, if any, at all in those two playoff games. But as far as visiting fans going to root for the other team, I grew up in L.A., and all I did was go to Dodger games and root for the other team. So I get it.
How many of those fans are from San Diego, though, by the way? I mean, there's a lot of Dodger fans that live here. It's not like they're all driving down in droves.
And and part of me says that is because of the failings of previous Padres administrations and owners who didn't give fans in San Diego enough reason to believe in their team. Had we all grown up with this version of the Padres, all of San Diego would be Padres fans. Everyone's kids would be Padres fans.
See the school.
Yeah,
They'd
be like, Woods' kids.
See it.
It's
crazy.
It's obsessed now. But when I was growing up in San Diego, there was tons of Dodgers fans and Cubs fans and Giants fans down here because the Padres of my youth didn't really give enough good seasons and reasons to become diehard fans of the team.
You had a couple of guys and a couple of guys every year that made you want to go out to the ballpark and watch. And now, man, as a father and a coach in Little League, it's absolutely insane. You had 900 kids sign up for Little League in where our little tiny city where we live, 900 kids, and 800 of them are in Padres gear, and they all love Tatis and Arise and Merrill. My God, what Jackson Merrill has done for this team. It's astounding.
That was not like it was when I was playing Little League at Scripps Ranch. I was like one of the only Padre fans like throughout the community.
So
but
give it like 20
everybody
years.
in your neighborhood didn't want a Broderick Perkins jersey.
Now, there were Tony Gwynn fans.
A
A lot of Tony Gwynn fans growing up, and they didn't seem to carry that over to the rest of the team. Oh, I love Tony Gwynn.
That was it.
I don't know who the rest of the players are.
Right.
But if you look, I mean, Woods is right, and that's even like at the high school age kids now too. I mean, the high school kids that I will see on Jersey Day when I go to practice, they're all wearing Padres jerseys. When I was in high school on Jersey Day, there was a single person wearing a Padres jersey, except for maybe one girl that needed a jersey, and her dad gave her the Corey Lubke giveaway jersey that they had laying around the house. That was about it.
Jersey Day.
When you go to Catholic school, Chris, you have to wear a uniform.
When I grew up, Jersey Day, there was no such thing as owning a jersey.
When you go to Catholic school and you have to wear a uniform, you gotta jazz it up a little bit. So you have Jersey Day.
I think Paulie's right. The Padres have now done what they needed to do. Now it's just a matter of time. And
let this generation grow up.
And then have their kids and indoctrinate them into being Padres fans, and let all the San Diego Dodgers fans, they will eventually boomer on out and they will be gone.
I'm not saying this is the norm, but I have gone now to a couple of Padre-Dodger games in LA in which I've seen Dodger fans that are the parents and the kids dressing like Fernando, wearing Padres stuff. So there might be a little bit more Southern California Padres fans in the next 15, 20 years, like Paul said.
It is our 97.3 The Fan Padres Roundtable, presented commercial-free by San Diego Roundtable Pizza. It really is pizza royalty. All right, we've all done this enough. How many times have you interviewed a manager, Mike Shildt or AJ Preller, and they've given you the time-tested cliche about how in a baseball season it takes the whole 26-man roster and the whole 40-man roster to be successful. It's not just about the lineup or the start. It takes everyone. It takes a village to be a successful baseball team. Well, right now, the Padres are playing with a 25-man roster, 25 guys, and Luis Campusano, who sits there and unless Kike Hernandez is pitching, doesn't get an at-bat, doesn't get an inning in the field, is completely unused. When you talk about how important it is to use the whole roster, Chris, how can they defend not using Luis Campusano for just having him there? And what should they be doing with that last roster spot instead? Or should they be playing him more?
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. Somebody said, well, maybe they're trying to showcase him. How are they doing that?
That's definitely not the answer.
Like the way he looks in a uniform?
This is
the way he warms up pitchers between innings.
Is there somewhere where somebody could point out that they want to save one of his trips back to the minor leagues because you only have so many options? Maybe somebody can try to get me to believe that.
Didn't they?
But other than that, sorry, Brad. Other than that, this is stupid, right? I mean, that's the only word I have to describe it. To have somebody taking it, there are so few bench spots as there is. And if you want to tell me, well, nobody's really hitting much at the minor leagues, or who would you bring up? I don't care. Bring up the fastest guy in the organization and have a second pinch runner. At least anything that might help the team in some situation.
Literally, a Mason McCoy to play short or second in the later inning. Something. Because
like a super specific defined role.
Correct.
Fine.
Because what I fear, my biggest fear is that we're getting into petty land again. And we've been in petty land here. We've had several, I don't know if they are spats or whatever, but there's been several players over the last few years that come here and rot. Now, I've said on the air many times, maybe the 8th time's a charm for Luis Campusano, that he'll figure it out. If he's not going to figure it out, he's got to be down, and somebody needs to be up that can help you win ball games, because wasting a spot doesn't make any sense. And when I say petty land, I mean I don't want to play him. Well, you're gonna have him here. Well, I'm not going to play him. Well, he's going to be on your roster. Yeah. I'm not going to play him though. Okay, that's your decision, bro. It's happened every single year. Yeah. Happened in the playoffs. It's happened with Matt Carpenter. The guy would go 6 weeks. Forget he's there. Another wasted roster spot in a season where we really needed help.
We may have missed, the signs there between AJ Preller and Bob Melvin.
We did.
When you have someone on your roster that the manager is refusing to play for a month, that is refusing to put in for an entire postseason, that there's a disconnect there. I have heard not a single word of disconnect between AJ Preller and Mike Shildt at all. So is there reason here, Braden, to be concerned when you see Luis Campusano on the roster and Mike Shildt never using him in a game?
But make no mistake, no one's clamoring for Luis Campusano to get everyday starts, right? But somebody that can help you win a ball game, that's what – no one is in here going –
Brandon Lockridge. They use Tyler Wade.
No one's in here screaming for 20 ABs a week for Luis Campusano, I don't think. But why is he up if he's not – if he can get 1 AB?
Could we not use another pitcher?
Right. I think you have to – I think there's certain –
is there now a new thing, 13-13?
Yeah. But again, could you not use –
well, give me a pinch runner.
Unless you're the Dodgers and have Shohei Ohtani.
That's the big advantage.
You get an extra pitcher.
Could you not use a because there's no threat off this bench. And if you're not going to employ Campusano, and he's not really a threat either. So, you got to have somebody that can help you win a game late.
Actions speak louder than words. I mean, we've like Ben just said, I haven't heard anything. Like, the actions are telling me that they don't, obviously the person in charge down there doesn't want to play him. I mean, you're watching it. They're not playing the guy at all. We've actually heard that they don't want him catching because they like, and they're using Elias Diaz and Martin Maldonado are doing such a great job. We don't want to mess it up. But he has historically had questions about his catching ability. It was mostly for just to be a guy that hits. And when you see this entire series, lefties come in late in the ball game, and they let Tyler Wade hit against the left-hander, and they let Gavin Sheets hit against the left-hander, and Cronenworth, and all the lineup spots, and Campusano still doesn't come off the bench until they pitch Kike Hernandez. I'm surprised Campusano didn't start a fight as soon as that happened. How insulting is that?
Yeah.
Right? Woods, we're gonna
let you hit underhand.
Woods, we're gonna have you not play the entire month, but then they're gonna put a joke of a pitcher in Kike Hernandez. Hey, Woods, grab a bat. What's your initial reaction?
I'm like, this is more embarrassing for me.
That is.
If I don't get a knock off this guy, I haven't had a hit all season. Now I got to go up there and play slow pitch softball.
If you get the hit, it's embarrassing.
Right.
If you get the hit all season against Kike Hernandez,
it's
even worse.
It's a lose-lose.
I'm not going to defend Luis Campusano, but how in any sort of way can you look at that situation this week and go, that is not the most insulting thing to that player of the week? This is only at bat he has had in about like a month. He's 0 for 14 now. So I think that's the action of the why he doesn't play. There's obviously something going on. The other action, for everybody that says you got to pull somebody up, the Padres, as of right now, what they're telling us based on actions, would rather have Campusano rot on the bench than have anybody in AAA come up and do what he's doing. I mean, think about that for a second. If there was somebody, why waste the spot, right? So if they don't think there's anybody down there that can help, and they're just going to have Campusano sit there, you're playing with 25 guys.
What's his contract status? How many years of
Campusano,
control?
another year or two of ARB, yeah.
I think Woods hit something that needs to be explored a little bit more. We only have, I know you have a lot of subjects, but I hadn't really thought of it in that regard. But it seems to me that there is some butting heads going on.
Sure.
Whether it's for the GM versus the manager, or just the manager being that bullish to a player that may have done something to embarrass the manager behind the scenes that we don't know 2 years ago. But what their personal thing to me is starting to come up to the bubble to the surface, because we're seeing it.
Right.
And it needs to stop because the team's got to be more important than whatever is going on there.
I mean, has anybody asked in the last week? Hey,
somebody asked the other day, why isn't he playing? And Mike Schultz said, I've talked to him, and
he's okay with it.
Yeah, looking for a lane.
So let me turn it around though, and ask you all guys this: if this was the Dodgers and Andrew Friedman wanted Luis Campusano to get at bats, he would simply tell Dave Roberts, give him at bats.
He does
him pinch hitting.
He does it already. He does it with Michael Conforto.
Of course,
who he paid $17 million.
Of course, he would. AJ Preller though doesn't do it that way. He puts a roster out on the field for Mike Schilt, but then I think he kind of puts his hands up and goes, Mike, it's your team to run the way you see fit. And Mike Schilt sees fit not to play Luis Campusano.
I think
so. Is that a sign of respect that AJ has for Mike Schilt at the very least?
I mean, I think he's learned. I think that it hasn't always been that way, right? Yes. I think he's evolved. If you want to call that evolution, and I think I do. I think I do want to call that evolution. I got this manager to manage. I'll make suggestions. I'll listen to feedback. They talked about their holistic approach. There's nothing holistic about having a guy not play. Nothing. So that means that's the anti-holistic. That means two guys are in disagreement about it. They don't agree. That's not holistic.
I think we all remember the scene in Moneyball where Art Howe wanted to play Jeremy Giambi. He goes, "You're not playing Jeremy Giambi. Why? Because I just traded him.
He's not on the team anymore."
Yeah, well, trade him then, please.
Pena's not playing today.
So that we can have
Pena's playing.
another player.
Managing a way that I can explain in job interviews this winter.
Right.
I don't know. For me, this is personal. I won't speak for you guys. I don't want this to make it sound like it's a what the hell is Mike Schilt doing not playing Campusano? Because I just don't think he's that good.
I don't think so either.
Agreed.
I don't think he should be on the roster in general.
We agree with that.
And what we're saying is, why has he been there for a month?
Right.
Well, the player is, think of it as a nameless, faceless player. There's a guy on your roster. His name we will not say. You're not playing him ever. He never gets used. He doesn't pinch run. He doesn't pinch hit. He doesn't come in for defensive purposes. Nameless, faceless player. No history at all. 0.0 batting average, which is actually true in this case.
Yes.
But you're not playing him. So there's a spot that could be filled with somebody else that could help you in a ball game. And you're not playing him willfully. Like you're I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
I don't think Trenton Brooks is necessarily the answer, but Have we seen crazier stories in baseball where a guy comes up and
gets hot,
catches fire for a month, and like, okay, we can't take him out of the lineup? You're never going to find out if you're not going to play the last guy, and you're not playing Campusano right now.
Even if just wasting a roster spot for strictly a pinch runner in the 9th inning only, or just for extra innings, is still more useful.
They do it in the playoffs all the time.
Yeah,
they always have that guy in the playoffs. Like, where have you been all season?
Quentin Berry's got rings, man.
Jorge Mateo, dude, bring him back.
What's the next expected roster move? Like, is Jason Hayward coming back anytime soon? Not that anyone's clamoring for him.
Starting
either.
A rehab assignment tomorrow.
So, I mean,
is that what they're waiting for? Maybe
that's the move. Maybe waiting for that.
All right.
How much time did you have budgeted for that subject?
Not that much, but
we went over.
It was a good conversation. I'm not going to be mad about it.
Yeah.
Got us to our 7th inning stretch here, a little past the halfway mark of our San Diego Padres Roundtable, brought to you by San Diego Roundtable Pizza. It really is pizza royalty. I don't think we discussed this last year. The San Diego County Fair is back, underway. I think we probably talked about fair foods, but today we're talking about those midway games, the ones where they're trying to encourage you, $10, $20, win a prize, step up and win a prize. And you get your choice on this one. It's not a draft. It's simply which of those games do you either love the most or despise the most when you're at the San Diego County Fair? And I will start with the one that I despise the most. You know the one where they have the frog and you have to hit it and try to make it hop onto a lily pad? I have no idea how that possibly works or how anyone ever gets the frog to hop onto the lily pad. It looks like it's impossible. I mean, and people are standing there trying to get the frog to jump onto the lily pad, and there's just no way that possibly you can have a skill that you can make that happen.
I like the
There's got to be some guy in Iowa who just is really good on the frog jump.
Well, I when I was in high school, dude, there was a lot of my friends would go work for the fair during the summertime. Like the fair would always hire all my friends, and a couple of them did the bottle. You know, like the rod with the ring on the end of it, and you got to stack the bottle, and it looks impossible. And they said, like, the ones that ran that game, they taught him how to do it. And now they know how to do it every time. That's why, like, the little guy, the guy that runs it can do it every time. There's like a technique to it. But I like the game because somebody's going to win. But the one with, like, the horse race where you roll the ball, and if it's like fast or whatever, someone's guaranteed to win. So to me, that's worth
more
the game.
Competition.
Yeah, it's more competition.
Skee-ball competition.
Yeah.
That's not a bad one. Woods?
I like the throwing balls at the Cupid doll.
Knock them over.
Pretty good.
Which is a little baseball-like, but they put so much fuzz on
There's
the
a
end
lot
that
of
you
fuzz.
think you hit it.
But you got to
hit it. Goes right through it.
Square, dude.
Hit it in the lower squat area.
You don't want to knock over the bottles. Those are glued together.
Yeah, and I like that game. I never got that fishing game. You know, where you had to, there's like a pole
to try to win a goldfish.
I don't know. In the basketball, I'm terrible at.
But it's impossible. I mean, it looks normal, but it's not.
I feel domed out. It's the second I grab a ball, my wife's there watching. I'm like, oh God, this is gonna miss. That's a brick every time.
Your wife is pretty nice. My wife would like yank the wallet out of my hand, and you're not spending money on this.
I'm gonna try it tonight. I'm gonna try it and see if I can make one.
Paul, you ever chase the dragon on one of those midway games?
No, I probably gravitate more towards the basketball ones, even though I know it's rigged.
It's so rigged.
But I feel like I have still my best chance.
Right.
The one I hate the most is probably like the ring toss on the empty bottles.
Oh, that's rough.
Terrible. But I usually avoid most of those games.
Funny, I have a funny story. It's not my story. It's my dad's. When he was a kid or like a teenager, they used to have the game. I haven't seen it anymore, but there was a game where like there would be like a rope ladder from like where you're at to like up, and you have to go up the thing and hit the button, and you win, and everybody always falls off.
Over.
So his neighbors, I don't remember their names because I've heard the story before. His neighbors, after the first time at the fair they did that, built one at their house
to train,
and they practiced all year long. And then they went to the fair and they cleaned it. They cleaned them out. They got banned from doing the game at the fair. They went through and got every single stuffed animal from that game. And since I've heard that story, even though it's a long time ago, it's very rare where I see that game anymore. They rigged it.
Chris, you like games of skill?
I would just like to know why your dad's friends couldn't use all of their time and talent on something a little more important,
more productive than stuffed animals.
More productive
Stuffed
than
animals.
That.
They're high school kids, man. What do you?
I'm just going to answer Paul's hatred of the game where you throw the ring on the bottle, because I did execute that one time as a kid, and I did have a big stuffed dog in my room, and his name was Ringer.
Ringer.
I like it. Clever.
Wow.
There is something
What a wholesome
satisfying
story.
about the water pistol into the clown's mouth, and the balloon starts blowing up until it pops. That one's kind of satisfying.
I got to play at least one of those games every time I go to the fair. That's like on my list. Eat something really bad for you. Play one of those stupid games. Not touch the rides.
We'll get back to the Padres here, and while we spend a lot of time talking about the struggles, hitting, left field, let's talk about a positive. Pitching has been a positive for the San Diego Padres, and I was chatting with some of my television competitors in the press box going, what would you ask on our roundtable? And this is Jake Garriani from Channel 8.
Love Jake.
Who wanted to know what you guys thought, if you were confident enough that Ryan Burgert will continue to be at least a serviceable back-end member of the Padres starting rotation going forward, based on what you've seen so far. Woods, you're nodding.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Good fastball. We had the numbers the other day in regards to his fastball shape. The IVB on his fastball comparable to Robert Suarez and Dylan Cease. And the slider, he spins it really well. I think the more chances he gets, the more reps he takes, the more time in the lab with Ruben Niebla, the better for Ryan Burgert. But I think the answer to that is absolutely yes. I would rather see him up and going every fifth day than some of our other options.
Do you remember the inch on the IVB?
It was
at least
comparable
18,
to Cease
20?
and Suarez were the comps, which is really good. So I think the more time spent, more time being a big leaguer, the more time picking the brain of the guys around him. He's got something.
I don't want to put you on the spot.
Watch him get lit up next time. Just by the way, since I said
IVB doesn't work in Colorado.
Yeah, true.
Paulie, what are you seeing from Ryan Burgert? You getting some confidence? in
Yeah,
him?
I agree with what Wood said. I like the stuff. I think of all of the, how do you want to put, lesser name guys on the staff right now, the Randy Vasquez, Stephen Kolek, Ryan Burgert. I guess you could throw Matt Waldron kind of type in there. Basically anybody other than Pivetta, King, Cease, Musgrove, and Darvish. Like, I think he's got a legitimate shot to be in this rotation for many years. Like, I really like what I'm seeing. It's early. The book is still out on him. Teams will adjust, but he'll get a chance to adjust as well.
That's what worries me, is that we've yet to see the other teams go through that adjustment phase, and there could be a naturally down stretch still coming for Ryan Burgert. Chris, what are your thoughts? And then I think oppositely with Stephen Kolek, I feel like we've kind of gone through that. He's been in the big leagues, even in the back end of the rotation last year. Now we're seeing it in the starting rotation. I actually am starting to gain more confidence in Stephen Kolek going forward, maybe even as someone that I can see being in the rotation next year as well for the San Diego Padres.
Yeah, it's one at a time, though, really. I mean, we all saw Matt Waldron not only in the rotation this year, but I'm pretty sure last July he got some team MVP votes from the panel here.
Yeah.
He ended up fading once they figured his thing out and the knuckleball stopped knuckling. I mean, the point being, there's about 10,000 cautionary tales of starting pitchers who give you 2 or 3 good starts.
Yeah.
And you're talking about waiting for Ryan Burgert, to maybe go through a down. Well, how long has his upturn been? 2 starts. Make no mistake, the second that Michael King is ready to go, Ryan Burgert's going to go back. But I appreciate what he contributed.
But, the Padres need to find not only pitchers that get them through this season, but rotation members for the next couple of years. With Dylan Cease and Michael King as free agent, Yu Darvish clearly getting, nearer the end than the beginning, and Joe Musgrove, you don't know what you get coming off of Tommy John surgery. Are any of these guys in your minds, Paul, I'll start with you, rotation, mainstays maybe for a couple of years?
Oh, I want to say I hope not, because that means we're letting all these guys go and we're not bringing anybody else in. I mean, really, that means like Pavetta's your one next year, the only guy that's under contract. I think there's a spot for a Randy Vasquez. It's not an easy watch, but he gets the job done, at least so far this year. I mean, they've heading into yesterday's ball game, you say they won 6 out of the last 7 games that he started. Like, it ain't aesthetically pleasing, but he gets the job done. I do think probably one of a Kolek or a Burgert should probably be in the back end of the rotation next year, depending on what other moves AJ makes, of course. I don't know which one that is going to be yet.
How about trading one of these guys right now?
Before they
like a Burger
right
their
now,
value?
Yeah, getting something that we really need.
Left.
I mean, what do we have? How many assets?
You mean trade one of the young guys or trade one of the guys that
Trade
on
Ryan
expiring
Burger
contract?
right now. Give me somebody, help him get me a left fielder.
What about this? Do you trade Dylan Cease right now, Chris Ello?
No.
I was testing to see. I mean, yeah, you can't look. You got to look. We are in the fortunate position of being able to look at this team game to game. Like, hey, let's just go out and beat the Diamondbacks. There needs to be long-term planning. It's not for us to do. It's for the front office to do, and they are absolutely doing it. You can rest assured. They're asking the same question, Benny. Is he a part of the rotation's future? And, you think about the great pitchers that are developing right now in the game. There's only one Paul Skeens, right? There's guys that are coming up. The Brewers just called up their top pitching arm. He's supposed to be really nasty. None of these guys, you don't watch them and go, wow, oh, my God, this is, this guy is the next great one. But, man, 4 or 5 in the rotation. Ryan Burger, yeah, he's got the stuff to stay.
There was just no hype for these guys.
It's pretty quiet.
Kolek and Burger.
Pretty quiet. And it's good finds. Like, it's good scouting. It's good finds.
I'm just talking purely on the hype. Like when you had Ryan Weathers come up and he pitched brilliantly in that playoff game against the Dodgers, they had no business being in the first place. And then Mackenzie Gore, like there was so much hype that, at the first sign of good pitching, you're going, look at this. We hit on this guy. This is great. You just never heard that with any of these guys.
AJ's always going to find the hype guys. He has no problem finding the hype guys. There'll be tons of hype for Cash Mayfield and Boston Bateman in the next couple of years, and either they'll come up with the Padres or he'll trade them for something else. But you need some steady guys as well. And I wanted to go the other direction on Randy Vasquez. He's got 2 years of control left, 2 ARB years. Braden, would you consider a team-friendly contract extension for Randy Vasquez? Say like 4 years, $24 million, $6 million a year, and you go, Randy, you're a 4 going forward, and just lock something in for the future. I know he's not probably going to win a Cy Young award or anything, but
how old is he again?
Randy Vasquez is
like 26 or 27, right?
You 4-year deal for $24 million?
$6 a year.
Done.
I
would
do
you
that.
do something like that? Team friendly?
In a heartbeat.
Would Randy Vasquez consider something like that?
Probably not.
You don't think so?
He might.
All the way. It's a long way from free agency.
And it's guaranteed money.
This would be a good time, I think, to approach it, at least if you're AJ Preller, to talk about that. You need some long-term pitching options that aren't 39 years old.
You can't. You need the Burgerts and you need the Koleks and you need the Vasquezes, because those are the guys that counteract your lust for a big payroll guy, right?
Yeah, we're dead without those guys.
You need those guys, and you need to be able to find outs. And when you're, the cliche you brought up, it takes 40. This is the 40 you're talking about. These are the guys who are going to go get you outs. And Burgert did a great job in those 2 starts, and he might do 3, 4, and then he might get rocked, and then replace him with somebody else, and you get a couple good starts out of him. Those are the pieces that good teams have to make it through the entire season. Not relying on those 4 or 5 guys, but using them strategically throughout the year. You need those guys in your organization. Those are the type of guys that you can't really trade away. I like that idea, Ben. I like potentially, solidifying a pitcher that's going to be part of your organization.
And for that price?
Yeah.
I would just hope that they make a couple of other moves before that one, because if that's the first move that's made this year and you're going, fantastic, 4 years of Randy Vasquez, who's playing left tomorrow?
And I think it's more pressing than people realize. 2028 seems like a long way away, but it'll be on you pretty fast. Joe Musgrove is a free agent after 2027. Nick Pivetta can opt out after 2026. Yu Darvish is signed, but will he make it that far? Will he retire? Will he still be in your organization? We know Dylan Cease and Michael King are going to become free agents. You have no future of pitching guaranteed beyond 2 seasons at all.
Your question then should be right now, do you go absolutely 100% blank to the wall to win a World Series this year?
Yes.
The answer is yes.
I think you do that every year.
Every year with Manny and
have what you have.
and those guys under contract.
But it's dire. The way you just put it, with all those guys, coming, it's dire.
You sign the Vasquez, the Koleks, the Burger, whoever you think are going to be the 4 or 5 of the future. if you could get one of them to be a 3, it'd be great. But if you get those solidified on small deals long term and get them early, then you splurge on a 1 and 2,
and get creative.
Paul was saying,
King,
right?
you could splurge on
Yeah,
King.
and then you get your ace, and then you have your rotation, and it's locked in where you don't have to worry about depth too much.
I think you also look heavily in the international and draft market the next couple of years.
Correct.
College pitchers, international pitchers that you think could impact in 3 or 4 years on your roster.
And Prelo's hit on a couple of those guys.
I want to use just a little wrench into the Vasquez thing, and you shouldn't start a new subject this late in the show.
I'll continue on my show.
You can try it if you think it's worthwhile. Does Mike Schilt even have any confidence in Randy Vasquez? He guaranteed before that game in his mind that there was no way this guy was pitching to the third time through the order.
Isn't that smart, though?
Maybe.
Maybe.
But is it going to be something going forward?
Right. Good
are they
question.
just going to say now, we've decided that Randy Vasquez is a 2-time through the order pitcher?
I don't think
his
so.
statistics back that thinking up.
What if it's not the Dodgers he's going against, and it's
I'm just asking you if
they were playing Arizona, if it was
if the
against
next
Arizona,
time out,
they let him go.
I think he'll pitch next week. Who do they play at the beginning of next week?
Dodgers.
Well, so you've already telling him before that game you're getting 2 times through.
Yeah,
I don't
If
hate
that
that.
is-
I don't hate that either.
I don't hate it.
And
Aren't
Shohei's
they
a lefty.
70% of starting pitchers in baseball?
Well,
not
no,
2 times
because
through the
2
order
times,
guys.
not really, because 2 times through the order gets you 4 innings. That's not enough.
We got a
And
college
it's-
pitcher talking right now.
No, I don't. No, it's not.
Protecting the pitchers.
Let me finish my point on this one. If you've determined that he's a 2-time through the order guy, then no, I'm not signing him to anything.
I don't think
I don't want 2-time through the rotational arms.
I don't think they determined he's a 2-time through the order guy. I think the situation yesterday was
let's see.
Shohei is the best player in baseball,
Skip
and
the
he's
next
a
one, though.
left-hander.
Skip the next one against the Dodgers. It's probably going to be the same.
If you were never going to let Vasquez face Shohei a third time, yesterday was the day. It was the best he's ever looked in my mind. And
If it
you
was
did,
any- if
and
it
you
was
had already
facing any
taken
other
him out of the
team-
game before the 5th inning
All right, but
started,
hang
by
on,
the way.
to flip
Because Mortahone was already throwing.
To flip it, if he goes against Ohtani there with a rested and ready bullpen, Mortahone, day off today, we're seething.
Yes.
They're seething in
I'm
here.
not disagreeing with what they did yesterday. I'm talking about Vasquez in a vacuum.
Moving forward.
Have they decided that he's only good 2 times through the rotation, or does that only
he
count
has.
against the Dodgers?
He has, because the third time through, it's like a 371. He's
Yes, it
decided
is.
that, right?
Okay,
Like,
well then I'm not paying $6 million.
I think if it's a playoff game, I'm not sure Pivetta gets a third
No doubt.
chance
No
at
doubt.
Ohtani. If the bullpen's rested and ready,
They go.
Mike Schilt and any other manager is making
How-
the same
especially
decision
Dave Roberts.
How old's
Right,
Randy
against that
Vasquez
lineup.
again? How old's Randy Vasquez again? I mean, he's 26, 27 years old. It's his like second year in the big leagues. I mean, we're also saying like, what is he never going to improve? I mean,
Right.
he's already drastically improved. I think from 1 year. Maybe in the next couple of years, he's a guy that's pitching 3 times through the
And how
order.
many
You don't
pitchers
know.
have gotten worse working with Ruben Niebla?
guys, what we're talking about
None.
we're talking about a starting pitcher that's going to give you that many starts for $6 million a year. It's a no-brainer.
He's giving you a sub-4 ERA right now.
It's a no-brainer.
It's crazy.
And I think he and his agents would
I
scoff
get, but
at that.
I agree with what Chris is saying. If he's only a 2-time through the rotation or a
What's-
2-time through the order guy, then you can't.
What does
you know,
Patrick
extend
Corbin
him.
make a year? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, hey.
like he's
Look,
going to laugh at $6 million.
All I
bucks a
want
year.
is the next time the Padres play the Marlins or whoever, I
Let
want to
him
see
go.
Vasquez
Let
in the
him eat.
6th inning.
Yeah, let him eat.
If he's pitching as well as he did yesterday.
Agreed.
All right, I think that's it for our time today. Good last topic there, Chris. You
Great
really
job.
got the panel riled up.
Braden, you can carry that over.
That's going to be great. Yeah.
Thanks to everyone for joining us on our San Diego Roundtable Pizza Roundtable. It really is pizza royalty. Just a programming note, we will be off next week. All shows will be off for Juneteenth. Dodgers series, though, it's probably too emotional for all of us to get together anyway next Thursday, but we'll rejoin you for another Roundtable in 2 weeks. For Stephen Woods, Paul Reindl, Braden Sopranet, Chris Ello, I'm Ben Higgins. Braden's show's coming up next live here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.